Yo, welcome to Spurs Kings TV. I am back. I'm back in the building with my boy Ashmatic, and it's Tuesday. He's been holding the fort while I've been away. Ash, are you well?
Well, go on, my brother. I'm back. Hey, yesterday I was suffering, Hey, but I was in mad pain. You saw me on my knees, pause, come like Ange, at the same position like that. I was like, oh, backwards in bits, but I'm back now. Now my back's fine. I know my body well, basically. So that's why yeah, I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed. But how are you? How are you?
Good. Needed the break. You know what? One thing I've realized with Spurs, right? Well, not with Spurs, with Spurs fans, and I'm gonna give advice to women out there, right? Because this is what I've noticed since I've been away, right? So I haven't had I haven't been in the UK, right? So I've been elsewhere, right, for like at least 4 weeks now, right? If there is if a woman goes on a date, right, with a Spurs fan, right, just find out if he's leaving in or out. Because if he's in, yeah, stay with that man. Because I do not understand why anybody is still loyal to that man. That's one thing I've learned over the last 3 or 4 weeks. That is just, I completely don't get it. But each to their own, right? Because that person is the most loyal man in history.
Yeah, is that we're starting the show? Welcome back.
That's how we're starting the show, man. No, but to be fair, right?
Smoke today, yeah. All right, say
no, to be fair, I watched all the friendlies I was watching while I was away, right? And they just slated us. I don't know what it was like. I was seeing stuff on X and stuff, and they were slating us, right? And you can blatantly tell we're not a big club anymore. To the Americans, we're not a big club. It's over. That is over. They are interested in Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, United. That's what they're interested in. Spurs have just fell off the cliff because they don't win anything. And that's the reason why we're not on tour there anymore.
Well, we're gonna have to change their minds, isn't it? It's only one way we can do it, by obviously doing the thing. But boy, that's a debate in itself, man. Let's bring on some guests.
So, who have you got on? Who have you got on this week?
We've got someone a bit different. Josh, man, well, go on.
You telling me, man? What are you saying, guys? What's going on? What's going on, Marlon? You good?
I'm good. How are you? Are you well?
Back from holiday, yeah?
Yeah, man. Yeah, just and Spurs kind of disappoint me within seconds.
You landed with a bang, man. Landed with a bang. Welcome back.
But yeah, how are you? Yeah, how's everything your end?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Obviously not happy in it from last night, but yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's therapize. Do you know what I mean? Let's speak, man. Let's communicate. Let's get this shit off our chest, man.
Yeah.
Whoa. Also got another debutant on the channel. Man like Supreme. I call man the chef. What are you telling me, bro?
I'm good, guys. Like I'm just the same as what you guys are saying, really. I enjoyed the first 45 minutes, but then it just came back to being a long-suffering Spurs fan. Like, you start so well and you just find yourself at the end of the game. Like, I haven't slept over it. You know what I mean? Like, I just...
Yeah, that magic.
My Twitter. I lost it. I absolutely lost it. My mum called me last night and she was like, she's like, why are you so, because of mum, the game's on. And it's like, you're trying to tell me about coming here next month. I said, you'll be here next month. But my head was going. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just... Everything for me was on point apart from the wings. That's been my biggest argument, like if you're going to have attackers like that, you're never going to get anywhere. Like the wingers. Everything else is, you can work with it, but I'm sorry.
We're going to get into it. We're just trying to find out how you are, though. We're just trying to find out
well, that is how I am. The game is still on my brain, bro. I can't shut
up. All right, let's bring another guest on there quick. Let's get it out of your system once more. We've also got Mr. Box Office in the building. Alex, how you doing, man? You good?
Like I said, it's now saying now. I'm on the beach like some of the Tottenham players, like I said before, because I came back from Jamaica.
Where you going on?
I came. Yeah. It's nice to see you again. Yeah, we're leaving all the work to bloody Ashmatic. Yeah, need all the work to Ashmatic. Yeah, I don't want to hear no attitude from you anymore, Bob. You know what I mean? Yeah. like I said before, the main event still speaking. Like I said, you know how it goes every single time, Bob. If you don't know, get to know. Like I said, I mean, like I said on my video, Box Office TV again, my channel, but every single time, yeah, growing every single time. I spoke the truth, and look what's happened again, yeah. Right? Everyone call me whatever they called me under the sun in June last year. Who's laughing now? That's all I need to say, and that's it. No one on this panel right now, yeah. But like I say, yeah, and we'll see what happens, and that's it. Back to you, Ashmatic. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know.
Legend.
Over to you, guys.
All right. Right. Do you know what, right? Because Leicester was only yesterday, right? And the first thing I said to Ash yesterday, right? Because me and Ash were together yesterday, right? And the first thing I said to Ash, right? And I just want to get everyone else's opinion. And Ash has had 24 hours to think about this. We all knew what we needed last season, right? In transfers, in players, and what we needed to push on. Why is it that the starting lineup came out last night and only one player that was only signed 7 days ago made that starting lineup? Ash, talk to me. Why was no one else thrown in when it's the same players letting him down like they did last season?
It's mad because obviously, like, throughout the seasons, throughout the years, we always have like the one marquee signing, and I think in their heads they had to address the number 9 situation, and they thought they did that with Solanke, but I think Solanke by himself, just being the only starting person in that starting 11, that's not going to be fixing the other issues. If you've got like a Werner, a Johnson, I'm trying to say, you've got Solomon, you've got all these wingers that aren't effective on the left or the right. And I don't want to take up too much time because I'm sure everyone's got a little piece to say on it. But that front three for me, like last season anyway, was blunt because you had Son up top at certain times and he had to hold the fort because Richie was injured. He can't hold on to the ball like that. You see what I'm saying? Then everyone's like, "Raw, Son's a winger. You got to stick him out wide. He's a touchline winger." Knowing that, he's more of a wide forward, likes to run in behind, and you need someone like that's going to get the ball to him and use that quick transition for him to run onto the ball and finish those goals. Then you've got, like I said before, on the left-hand side, you pulled him out wide. He's further away from the goal now. Do you understand? He's not doing the same thing where he used to do back in the day, cut on his right foot, curl it, top bins. Remember what he did against Leicester? And he stood up like a bad man. He was like that. Yeah, he tried to doubt me. Yeah, brother, that was all gone. So it's techie. It's techie. Obviously, he's the capo, and if he's captain, you can't really drop him. So you've got to find a position for him somewhere. But yeah, going back to your question, I can't really answer it, man. We haven't addressed a lot of things, especially in that midfield. Everyone was talking about getting certain positions right so that the team would look a bit more fluid. We could add a few more goals. We could have a few more protection. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really have the answers. We saw what happened with your doggy when he got injured.
Yeah,
we kind of fell apart. But yeah, man, I think we'll get more into it as it goes on. But that's my initial thoughts. I can't tell you why we only had one starter, one person come in to improve our starting 11. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
Josh, I'll bring you into it. Like with my question, how did you, when you saw the starting lineup and Solanke's the only player from who, like, and especially with all the friendlies that we've been playing and seeing all these players, and even some of the young lads that we were kind of expecting to get more minutes, right? But you've seen Mikey Moore in Lancashire play tonight in the under-21s. Archie Gray and Bergvall couldn't even get into the starting lineup, and we had Basuma missing. Right, everyone's saying that Archie Gray was meant to be coming in as a DM kind of role. So why are these players not starting? And if we've bought them and they're meant to improve the first team, this is my question: if we're trying to improve the first team because that's what we needed, why are these players not starting from day dot? And they've had the whole preseason.
So the only player that we've signed that's got Premier League experience is Solanke. Yeah.
Yep.
Archie Gray, Championship. Bergvall, Swedish, And there's a few, right? There's a couple, whatever, right? Youngsters we've signed, right? Lancashire's come through the academy. Davies, none of these boys have Premier League experience. There's the dude from South Korea as well. So really, are you going to throw in players that ain't played in the Premier League in the Premier League? Now you can question the recruitment policy and say, why are we even signing these players if they ain't played in the Premier League? But if I'm the coach, am I going to stick in these players that ain't played in the Premier League? I'm not going to do that. So I don't blame Ange for not starting them. Whether we talk about signing them was correct or not, that's a different conversation. But you can't be starting these players away on the first day in the Premier League if they ain't played in the Premier League. He's got to blood them in. He's got to see how they respond, see how they're playing, the intensity, the speed, the physicality. They're young boys, man. They're 20, 19, 18, 17. So throwing them in, it's like a wild card, man. Can you take that risk away in the Premier League? Maybe you do it in the Europa League or in the FA Cup against maybe a championship team, but you can't be doing that in the Premier League. So I don't blame him for not starting them. But whether we should be signing these players is a different thing.
There's only one counteract I'd say to that, and that's Archie Gray, right? Let's be honest. He played against Leicester last year. So why can't he be thrown in against the team? Let's be honest. Leicester, what we saw last night was very championship-esque. So actually, could he have
He was one of the best players against Chelsea as well for Leeds. He absolutely caught. He beat the press a lot of the time.
But from what Josh is saying, because you can't throw him into a Premier League game, my question to you is though.
You can, of course you can. But
I can. I'm more thinking that Leicester's a championship side.
Is compared to what's available that's played in the Premier League. Why would you do that? You can only compare what you've got, right? So Pat Sarr's played the season. Do you know what I mean? Do you start him? What's his name? Bentancur's played in the Champions League, right?
Yeah.
You start him. So, apples for apples, you've got a novice and you've got experience. So he went for experience. And the first half proved him right. The first 60 minutes proved him right. So he was happy at half time.
Yeah. Agree. Chef, let me bring you into it as well, because on the back of Josh's point now, right? So, the first half was decent. So the lineup, would you say he got it spot on?
It's hindsightism from me. I see where Josh is coming from, because I said I do see the midfield. If Basuma hadn't done what he'd done, I did actually see a Bentancur and what's he called? Basuma midfield with maybe a Madsen, with maybe Bergvall playing in that more advanced position where you don't have to worry. But then when you look at pre-season, like Josh has said, the senior players, apart from Bentancur, because he was allowed to give him rest from his international duty at the Copper, they've all played well. So you couldn't have got it wrong, in my opinion. But Josh is kind of right. When we look at the opening day, over Bergvall, Archie Gray I've seen play against Chelsea, and he did not look out of place. He was probably the best midfielder on the pitch. He took Enzo Fernandez and Conor Gallagher a few times to the cleaners. He just completely did them. He's a lot more technically gifted than these two players. However, I am with Josh a bit. Why would you on the first day throw them into a high pressure environment for them to then lose confidence in that game? So whichever way you look at it, I don't think you could have got it wrong, but you could look at what Josh is saying to protect them, because there's going to be plenty of games, plenty of minutes that you can blood these players in and put them in more confident situations. But I don't think you could have got it wrong, but I do believe, like Josh is saying, that there was people higher up the pecking order. And it's kind of a bit disrespectful if you're a senior pro in that team that's been here for years and a kid just turns up. I think you have to tread carefully, because you have to you see, when you're doing a project, you have to take everyone along with you. So maybe Bergvall should be playing over Sarr. But what you don't want to do is think that I've got shiny new toy and you're no longer important to me. So Josh really, as much as I would like to see Bergvall, he's probably right on it, if I'm honest.
Alex, let's bring you on this, right? So obviously only one first. So obviously, I think what everyone's trying to say here, the youngsters, you can't really blood them in straight away. So is there a problem with recruitment, as in we needed improvements to the first team, but only one improvement's really been made on that first team? That's the reason why he started last night.
I think it's quite simple. We don't know what our objectives are. We don't know what team we are. because as soon as those signings came in, you saw the videos. Yeah, right, and you've seen it all. He's a generational talent, Gray. Bergvall, next second coming. Straight away, when I heard this video, I'm sitting there thinking, what do you know about this kid? And like I said before, I can't trust any of that midfield. I'm actually now saying, even though I called him bang average for so long, I'd rather have Højbjerg. And what does that say to you? What does that say to you?
Says you're a flip flop.
What does that say to you when I've been calling him bang average? Yeah, I was arguing with the Queen Ellie, yeah, who I was arguing all this time, and everyone started believing in the main event again. Who said it? It was bang average when everyone did. Was it cool again? 3 years ago, watch Irish Hotspur, who's deluded as well. I've got his number as well, by the way. Yeah. So, like I said before, I'm sorry.
Leave Dave
You know what I
alone.
mean? And then Bentacore, like, who's grown on me, but still, again, there was too many nice players at this club. I said there was too many nice players at this club. Exactly why I said I wanted Ivan Toney at my club, because at least he's got swag and he's got arrogance. Yeah. And when I hear people talking about, we don't want nasty players, we don't want it. Okay, like I said before, what was Sheringham, bro? What was Sheringham? Yeah. What was Berbatov, bro? Yeah. And who won trophies? Oh yeah, those two won trophies, by the way. So, like I say, we've done it again. We do it again. Yeah. We overhype our players. Like I said, Alderweireld was a perfect one. Yeah. I was told we were gonna get Eze. I didn't even want Eze. Yeah, because I told you, because I wanted Elise. I wanted Elise all day long because he's got it up there. He's got the arrogance. He's got the
Can you
swag.
at least play first, Alex?
He's got the arrogance and he's got the swag. Yeah, we were twerking for Eze. Yeah. All of a sudden now, we don't want Eze. We've got Alderweireld now. Yeah, he's perfect Ange system again. This whole Ange ball rubbish. This nonsense. Why I can't stand the guy. Yeah, when I said since June, I can't stand this guy anymore. Yeah, because this fan base makes him so annoying now. Yeah, he's a perfect signing for us now. Yeah, he's like an Aaron Lennon. Honestly, that's a perfect one. That was the perfect one. Yeah, honestly, and because we Patrick loose, we needed experience in our midfield, bro. Experience, 110%. I take Locatelli all day long. Yeah.
Oh,
Take a Locatelli all day long and Mike O'Reilly all day long, because at least they've won. Yeah, at least these youngsters can learn off somebody. What is he learning off? What is he learning off bloody Son for? What is he learning off Son? He's not a captain. He hasn't won nothing. What is he learning? What is he learning off? What is he learning off Timo Werner, the below average Shane Long? What is he learning off? What is he learning?
To be fair, Werner's won Champions League.
I was gonna say, like, you can't be
lucky, bro. I'm sorry, but what is he learning, bro? I'm sorry. I'm done with this.
It doesn't matter.
I am done with this, bro. I'm sorry. We don't know what we are as a club. And like I said before, my boy Sava, earlier today with Stelios, has literally rinsed us to pieces with the stats of what we've done since last 10 games. Rinse us to pieces.
We could win 5-0 and they'd rip us to pieces. I mean,
Jay, I love you, bro, because you turn up for debates, Bob. But honestly, just sit down, Bob.
I haven't said anything.
No, Bob. But sorry, I'm done with this, Bob. You know what I mean? Like I said before, you know what I mean. But I'm negative. I don't know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah. But then people start talking about the main event. It's like that's what I'm saying, Bob.
You know what I mean?
Yeah?
Like, but
and that's it. I'm done. It rinsing into pieces. I'm done.
Go on, Jay.
All right, listen. So first of all, big up listeners, big up panel. How we doing? Sir, nice to see you. Nice to see you, Jay. So listen, Alex. First of all, yeah. I can take on board that we don't know who we are to an extent, in terms of buying players who are more ready. Like obviously, like buying a Neto would have put us in a good position. You know, if we brought in Neto and Solanke in a window, that would have been That would have been really good for the team. And obviously, it's a missed moment. But in that moment, it's like you have an option in terms of what you want to do then moving forward. And I'm not anti-intelligence. So the data, the scouts, these people, yeah, everyone wants to be run like Brighton until it's time to be run like Brighton. Everyone wants to do the smart signings until you do the smart signings and it's not who you would pick, right? So to me, you look at the Bergvals, the Greys, the Odebears, the club's made a decision, a conscious decision to say these players in the next 12 to 18 months will be ready, yeah? At what point in that time period, the team might suffer. Potentially the team might suffer. And they've made an educated gamble. Now, fans can turn around and say, well, I pay this, I pay that, I expect this, I expect that. And I'll say, well, those fans will have a point. Like there's a point to be made of saying that we want to make a step forward, and some of these signings don't necessarily look like straight away Barcelona. They're going to help the first team immediately as starters. But I think if you look at the Bergvals and Gray, they're going to learn quickly. And overall, by this time next year, we will definitely have a stronger midfield than last season. But how quickly these players can, gel and get into it. I don't think Monday's game validates anything about our midfield or anything like that, or anybody's opinions. I don't think it validates it either way. Like, I don't think it means that our midfielders are back and Maddison's in form and this and that. And I don't think it means that our midfielders are trash. They don't know what they're doing. We made a mistake making the signings that we made. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that it's either way. It's a disappointing result. We didn't play well, but yeah, like I said,
whose midfield's better, West Ham's or Tottenham's?
What, first choice midfield or
who's better as West midfield, West Ham's or Tottenham's? Because at the moment I'm taking West Ham's.
What we're saying, like I'd take Maddison over Paqueta.
Who's won trophies, by the way? Won the Conference League, by the way.
I wouldn't agree with that.
I wouldn't agree with that.
No, hold on. Sorry, it's funny because when you have a Paqueta, it's all fun and games until you say to Paqueta, "Go run the attack for a top 6 team." Yeah, go. You yourself.
Oh, they won the Conference League, Bob.
No, but when you say no,
I get you. Yeah, but Jake, I get what you're saying. But James Maddison's in the same boat, though.
No, what do you mean? Like Paqueta would.
James Maddison hasn't run a game for Spurs, has he?
Paqueta would kill for Maddison's worst season stats. The worst season that Maddison's ever had in output would be the greatest season that.
Well, it's about trophies, bro.
In terms of
won trophies.
No, bro, because what I'm trying to explain is that it's easy to be the main man at West Ham and everyone applauds you, yeah? Because the lens is completely different, yeah? He hasn't done anything, yeah? The Brazil team that he wrote, they're not doing anything.
I agree with that.
He is a good piece for a team that has other top players. He will help
what
facilitate.
I will say, though, Jay, you could say that Maddison has been found wanting. Before he was here, if you went off what you could see and the numbers before Maddison got here, I have to agree with Jay. The reason why I'd say Paqueta now, just hear me out, is because Paqueta, when things ain't going well, you don't see the moaning and all the bollocks. He still gets. I tell you what happens with Paqueta. He loses his shit and he starts. Like I was taught to play. I was always taught when I was playing football. If people are better than you, don't be outworked. Like put your foot in. Leave something on someone to stop them from playing. I'll be real with you in this. Maddison at the start of the season against Arsenal, that was in his game. When we were up against the Kosh, Maddison's a luxury player, so he doesn't defend. But what we loved about his introduction is that he was defending, he was pressing high, he nicked the ball, and like he didn't do that again afterwards because that part of his game went, and he was very much like his own players. Jay call him a diva. But what I will say, well, you are right. Before he joined Spurs, on everything that you've said, he's Odegaard level. Him and Odegaard are like a goal between each other. So it's like coming to Spurs, Jay. I can't argue with what your argument, but in a Spurs shirt, there's an argument to say he struggled with it. He struggled.
Yeah,
So,
but what I'm saying is that to me it's very simple. The praise that Paqueta will get for the season that he has is, people aren't watching West Ham every week. They're not watching 38. They're not watching 38 games of West Ham. They're not seeing his average to mediocre games and all that sort of stuff. Same with Eze. Yeah, like these players, when you look at these, like Paqueta, to me, he's one of these players that is a nice player. He's aesthetically pleasing on the eye. He links the team together. But if you told me that he's got the keys to run your attack and you need 20 GA from him, or you need him to facilitate a higher level of attacking output from a team, he can't do it. And there's no way I would trust him to do it. And these other players that you say aren't good enough,
But Jay, every argument you've just produced there, though, I'd say the same against James Maddison as well.
Why? Madison's
because
proved.
he hasn't proved it. His form for Spurs has been so.
Bro, he's got form for 5 years with Leicester. He is a
but Leicester and West Ham. Leicester and West Ham are pretty in the same boat. But as soon as you said as soon as Paqueta goes to the top 6 side, which we don't know yet, right? James Maddison has.
Paqueta can't even do Maddison's Leicester numbers now. When Maddison was at Leicester, Paqueta can't do those numbers ever. Yeah, so what's the main?
Based on what, Jay? Based on what? I've got to be honest.
Based on the fact that he has not done.
This is where Marlon. This is why I love Marlon. He picks some things up that are absolutely fantastic. This is why I love Marlon. Sometimes he brings
he's not like,
wow.
Madison at Leicester.
He's making a good point though. I'm sorry. I've got to be honest. Leicester City and West Ham are kind of similar though. I'm not being funny.
Yeah, and Paqueta's nowhere near Maddison's output. Nowhere near.
But bro, I don't want to embarrass you, bro. But you're the one that was picking him out like halfway through the season, bro. Last year, and it was on this channel, bro.
Listen,
you were on this channel.
Foremost, no, hold on. The one thing I don't do, and everyone will know, I don't praise our players in isolation because I think it's a weird thing to do and start saying this guy's the best in this guy's the best in that. You will never ever hear me compare our players like that, right? So that's not true. Secondly, all I'm saying is that Maddison, from an output point of view and running an attack point of view, has proven in his time at Leicester and to an extent half last season that he's far superior to Paqueta at doing that. That is not where Paqueta
has he not been in the Premier League longer though? As in Paqueta's only been here 2 years?
Yeah, and if you ask Leicester fans, didn't they say that Maddison great at the start, gets injured, and then terrible at the end? So like you said, not all of us watch Paqueta for 38 games, but I'm going to sit there and say you didn't watch Leicester for 38 games last year when Maddison, because all his numbers were.
Guys, there's one important point, right? If you put Maddison in a counter-attacking team like a David Moyes team or Conte team, where necessarily he's not playing front foot football and he's doing them long balls and he's rested a bit, he might play better. He might give you better. But likewise, if you put Kudus, if you put Kudus or Paqueta or James Ward-Prowse in an Ange ball system, can they survive? So when we're talking about these players, you have to talk about the systems. They've proven themselves in, and then see if they're versatile.
I think what Jay was saying about the output in terms of like goals, if you look at Maddison's goals compared to Paqueta's goals per season, Maddison outdoes him night and day. You see what I'm trying to say? Even if you look at the creative numbers, Maddison streaks ahead of Paqueta. As much as I like Paqueta stylistically, I think he's a dope player. I think having him both and Maddison in my team, brother, I'm here for it. Do you know what I'm saying?
He can facilitate. Paqueta can do the facilitating. Maddison can do the.
That would allow Maddison to push further up the pitch, but that's neither here or there.
But the original question was right. The original question was West Ham's midfield or ours, and I this is where I disagree with box office because apart from Paqueta, I don't think any of West Ham's midfield get into ours.
The only player that would do us a job, but people don't like it. But if you look at his stats, now he plays a game, is Atson Alvarez. But what you have to accept with him, he's a bodyguard. He's not great on the ball, but he's a great defensive midfielder. But that comes because from where he's been cultured in the league of Mexico, they're not great footballers. Do you know what I mean? Like the midfielders from where they're from. You only have to look at Mexico's national side and watch him playing. They're awful. They're absolutely shocking. But what that guy will give you over 90 minutes is constant defensive energy. But it takes more than that, unfortunately, at this in how the game's changed to be a DM that you need to be able to play a bit as well.
Yeah, because obviously Rodri is now the main piece of what everyone's now looking in a DM. I know there's not many Rodris out there, but that everyone's looking for that guy that's going to win, but be able to play football as well at the same time.
But they're so rare and they're hard to
they're
find.
so rare.
That's why so many teams do a double pivot, because you've got one person, like Supreme was saying, that does all the dusty work and the dirty work and the defensive work, but they're not able to progress the ball. And that's when you have, like, you see like Aston Villa, they've got Onana and Tielemans in the double pivot. Onana, he's the one that's going to do like the dog work, more or less. He's not awful, like on the ball, but he's no Tielemans. Tielemans is going to get the ball and pass through the line. Similar with Arsenal, they've got Rice,
Party, and they had Jorginho to do it as well. Yeah.
It's the same thing. They all operate double pivots, or they get one of their fullbacks to invert to help with progression of the ball. You see with Zinchenko. Defensively, Zinchenko's not it. But then he helps what Rice can't do. Do you understand? And so it's about creating that balance. And so when people, this is the whole debate about the defensive midfielder. We need a defensive midfielder, but it's hard to find a defensive midfielder. It's hard to find a six or whatever you want to call it, because can you find a brother that can drop into a left back, drop into centre back, drop into midfield, progress the ball, win the ball high up, good at recovery challenges? You know what I'm trying to say? Sar's brilliant at recovery runs. And he's good at winning the ball high up. How good is Sar progressing the ball, passing the ball in between the lines?
He doesn't break
still learning.
But I just want to say something.
Go on.
I just wanted to say, before Jay comes in, that's why I'm disappointed in the midfield buys right now, because at the end of the day, we put too much pressure on Bergvall and Archie Gray. They shouldn't be in this position. Well, Archie Gray should get a loan. He should have been loaned back to Leeds so he can learn his craft. He's not right for this right now. He's losing the ball too many times. And it's the same thing with Bergvall. Yes, he's got something about him. We needed experience in that midfield, right? And I don't know what the planning was this season in the summer. I don't know what it was. But I blame YouTubers overhyping our squad. Like, overhyping these two youngsters and putting so much pressure on them. And then I was saying to people, well, okay, if you're going to overhype our players, that's cool, right? But they've got to do it now then. They've got to turn up now.
Yeah, but
because if you're going to overhype them, they need to be ready now then.
And
they're not ready.
I'll be honest with you, Toxic, where I'll disagree, if you look on my Twitter back last season, I watched Archie Gray a couple of times.
That's a nice name.
Can you hear me, guys?
I
said that Archie Gray, when we talk, because this is what happens, João Neves, no one will question how good that Portuguese kid is. No one questions it and where he can do what he can do, I'll repeat it again. I watched him at Leeds do things that I haven't seen other players do in the Premier League. Like, he can take the ball down under pressure with two people on him in his own area, take it down and go through. I've seen Basuma try to do that on the halfway line and get the ball nicked off him out of Man City's most least of a threat of a defensive midfielder, which was what's he called? Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva nicked the ball off Basuma and cost us a goal. Whereas Archie Gray can take that ball. And then I watched him, as I keep repeating, go and watch him against Chelsea. He was the only reason why Leeds got a footfall in the game, because he was the only person with the ball.
But Supreme, can I ask you a question? Did anybody know about him?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, everyone knew about Archie Gray.
Did any of those Chelsea players knew about?
Let me explain. I knew about. I did a thread. There you go. Go and search my name on Twitter. I did a thread about shopping in the Championship, because let me tell you, Toxic. Let me tell you, Box Office. The best players that we've bought. Let me just give you some names: Danny Rose, Kyle Walker, Dele Alli. Yeah, they're all from the Championship and the EFL, bruv. And we had big players. We bought those, and they were putting all the other players on the bench. So what I will say is you can't just go and grab players from the Championship. Adam Wharton is one of the best midfielders statistically, better than Rice performed. He was performing as good as Rice had.
Let me come back to you.
What I'm saying is, you have to give it the eye test and look at what they're doing. You can't just go and get fucking Sammy Smolzik from Blackburn because he scored 20-odd goals, and stick him in the Tottenham team. It's probably not going to happen for him. But there's certain players, because I played at a decent level. There's certain players that I played with that I knew that I could probably make it as a professional. But there were certain players I played with that I knew that Billy Jones was going to make it. I knew that Joe Hart was going to make it. Joe Hart could have played cricket as well. He was better at cricket than he was at football as a kid. So I knew these players when I was playing with them are better than me and they were going to make it. I used to say to Stephen Fletcher, you're shit. And that's why you play for Wrexham. But where is he now? So you don't get to decide off, these are kids. There's certain kids, like Destiny or Dodge, Destiny or Dodge, bros, come into that team, and you've got teams now, like I could speak to other fans, they say, out of all the players at your team, I'll take Van der Ven and a Dodgy. They were kids when they came here, bro. Van der Ven wasn't even a starter at Wolves.
Can I come in? Can I come in now?
For it, go.
Okay, firstly, Andy Wharton that's playing for Crystal Palace, he's only had 6 months. He's only had 6 months. 6 months don't make a year, bro. Doesn't make 2 years. Yeah,
but
second season. No. The box office, Mr. Box Office now speaking. Right, I've seen this before because we've seen this how many times? We've got the records. We've got the past records of Tottenham's with youngsters recently. Yeah, right. My point is, is that Wharton's had a good 6 months. Yeah, cool. No one knew about him. No one knew about him. Now people know about him now. Now it's about being consistent. 2-3 years. Then we can start seeing whether you can do it. You know what I mean? Because when people don't know about you, it's cool. It's easy. Because it's your breakthrough season. Second season, third season, then you start seeing if you've got the minerals in. You know what I mean? Because now people know about you. You know what I mean?
No,
the whole thing with Van der Ven, the whole thing with Adoji had an okay season. You saw last night what he struggles at. He loses the ball how many times? He was very shaky in that second half. And that's been a problem throughout his career at Tottenham Hotspur. Van der Ven, that hamstring is going to be doing this. I've said it since he started. Because he was trying to save us every single time we were trying backwards, and that's it. And that's it. So I'm sorry again. And that defense, you're bigging up, by the way, with Romero. They let in 60 goals last season. You know what? How many goals we let in with Conte, with Virgil van Dijk, Longley, Davis, and Emerson Royale, that bag average player that we were celebrating last season, 2 seasons ago as well.
When like 50 of the Conte let in.
So don't even get me started with that bang average defense, and you're bigging up our players. Like Romero, who's leaving for Real Madrid, by the way, next season, by the way.
Look, I want to get into the defense later.
And that's it. Because back to you, Marlon, and Pun. If you don't know, get to know.
I just want to bring Josh in just on this argument about youngsters as well. Like, where are you sitting with it as well? Like, box office saying Archie Gray shouldn't be in there. Supreme saying, no, he's quality, this, that, and the other. Where are you sitting on this whole situation?
Look, guys, if you look across the Premier League last couple of seasons, even if you look at our own Harry Kane, you look at Harvey Elliott at Liverpool, you look at Saka, you look at Cole Palmer, you look at Mainu at Man United, all the clubs have youngsters coming through, right? So you have to have youngsters coming through because Tottenham are not going to just spend their way through success. Every club needs 2 or 3, star players coming through. And we've seen that. Even Garnacho at Man United, you can see now he's playing well. Last season was a good season. I'm of the view that you have a mix. So you can't rely on youngsters because they're young. They need time. And you need the leaders, the 28-year-olds, the 27-year-olds, the Champions League experience. So you need a mix, guys. You need a mix. So Declan Rice, another youngster, did his time at West Ham, went to Arsenal. He was ready for Arsenal. Would Declan Rice have done well at Arsenal if he had just gone there, straight from the academy. These players have to learn their roots. So whether you loan them out, Harry Kane, again, example, whether you loan out Bergwijn, whether you loan out some of these young players and say, go and learn the trade, then come to Tottenham. Then you can be part of the first team. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because if you loan them out, then you'll never really know if they're Premier League worthy. If you start them, you'll know, Ange will know within the next 6 months if these boys are Premier League worthy. Are they going to be the Mainus and Sakas and whatnots of the next season? So it's hard to know unless you try, and it's down to Ange in training to make that call. He's the boss, you know. In training, he will see things amongst the better players in the squad, and if he sees Bergwijn doing certain things like he's seen Mikey Moore do, he's going to say, "You're in my squad." But then the argument does come back to, is that all he's got? Because he hasn't got experience, because the signings haven't come in. So then he's just stuck with what he's got. So it's difficult to say, but I do believe the PSR rules, the academy prospects are now getting signed up at 16. There's a lot of competition in academies now that there wasn't before because of PSR. They're 100% profit, especially if they're British. So I believe youngsters are going to be a more integral part of squads moving forward now, because you can't just go and just spend your way through it now. You've got to balance the books. So I think it's a hard one, man. I think you need them, but you can't rely on them. So it's tough, isn't it? If you need them for the future, and so that you've got that raw talent coming through, you know, like those names I've just given you. But when it comes to quarterfinals of a Europa League or semi-final of a FA Cup and they don't perform, you can't blame them. They're 17, 18, 19 years old. So it's a difficult one, man. I don't think there's a straight answer, man. I think you need a mix. And the best clubs, you know, we've seen the enemy down the road do it well, you know, signing young players. You could say Liverpool have brought a few through. You've seen Foden, obviously, at City. You've seen Palmer at Chelsea now. So we do need to keep our eye on that, but we can't 100% rely on it, because then that's just too much. That's too much expectation on these young boys.
Ash, let's speak about something positive for a change, and that's that first half, right? Because actually, the whole conversation could have been slightly different if they kept that first half up for 90 minutes.
Yeah, man. I think the first 45 minutes, that's when fans were getting a bit more positive about the football. For me, it was just decision making. That's what it was, you know. It was a lot of the times when we had the ball in the final third, it might be the final pass, it might be the quality of the cross coming in. And I thought that was some of the problems that we faced. I was going to quickly talk through this. I wasn't going to do this, but I thought, you know what, fuck it, quickly. Obviously, we played Leicester, then they in a 4-2-3-1. We were in a 4-3-3. We know our lineup inside out. That is the momentum bar. So basically, that's the times we had attacks and we were doing all right. Obviously, in the second half, we'll talk about that when they got the goal, and then obviously the fans got up for it, and you know, the momentum swang. But we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, that was our average position. So we played the high line as usual with Mickey Van der Ven and Romero playing the back two. And as you can see, 29, which is Sarr and Bentancur in a double pivot. That's what they kind of line up in. And then 23, obviously, Porro with Johnson slightly ahead of him on that right-hand channel. And then the left channel, you can see Son obviously linking up, and a doggy, that 13 from off still. But yeah, he was there on that left channel, and they interchanged at times, which kind of worked on that left-hand side, I thought. And Maddison playing higher up the pitch in the 10, and new signing Solanke playing right there as a striker. But in the second half, things did change, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But you can see we kind of overloaded the pitch on the right-hand side. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, we've got obviously Bergwijn, number 15. Number 14 was Archie Gray playing that kind of defensive midfielder role. 16 was Werner, 21 Kulusevski. Two Swedish players quite close to each other. Spence in 24, and then obviously, as I said before, Solanke was still there. And Richarlison came on and played some part of it. That was their overall position for Leicester. They kind of played to, I feel like it was a mid to low block. And that was our passing lane. And the thicker lines show where we predominantly went down. And you can see down the left-hand side, that was quite thicker. And you can see that Mickey Van der Ven, Udogie and Son, Maddison is a thick line there. So that was the progression where we kind of attacked and hurt them quite a lot. I didn't put every single moment because there was a lot of moments to get through. But I thought, let me just talk about the goal quick, because I thought in the build-up, I think Leicester, what they did was they tried to do a mid-block rather than pressing our centre-backs. They allowed our centre-backs to have the ball and Vicario came off his line quite a lot to create like a back three at times. When they did have the ball, we were playing through a 2-2-2, but in this clip here, I've got a 2-3. And what Sarr does, he points to the area where he wants it, and then he actually drops in and plays the ball back to Mickey van der Ven. You can see a Leicester player trying to press him in that point. Then the ball goes out to the other flank just to open up the pitch and kind of stretch Leicester, pull them apart side to side. Goes into the doggy passes to Maddison, and Maddison plays it back to Romero. And you can see where Leicester are trying to press there. As soon as it comes into Maddison or Sarr, they're trying to activate their press. That's when Maddison brings it back into Romero. Romero gets his head up, sees Bentancur in between, almost in between the lines there. You can see Bentancur, Sarr right at the edge of the pitch. You can see the edge of the picture, sorry, right there. And I think what Romero wants to do is pass in between the lines where Sarr is. What Sarr does then is he comes in, opens his body up, and he drops in, does a wall pass into Bentancur. This is when it speeds up slightly. Bentancur passes it into Maddison. Maddison gets on the ball, comes alive, and he puts his foot through the ball, and he does that little outside of the pass he does with his ball, but he does generally. Passes it into space where you can see Son runs into it. Son collects that ball, and a doggy doing the traditional overlapping fullback role. There's a lot of people saying, oh, the fullbacks invert, the fullbacks invert. Why do they invert? But we don't always invert. If you watch the game closely, these fullbacks actually do overlap at times. And now what you're seeing is Son standing his man up, and it's giving him a 1v1 with his defender. He cuts in, he sees Maddison running in that channel in the midfield. When Maddison picks that ball up, Boros makes a late run into the box, hits that diagonal ball into the box. They don't pick him up, and that's how we score that goal. Everyone complains we score the same type of goal every time, and we just scored a goal where we're not cutting across the box, doing those little cutbacks. We're not doing it. We're doing something slightly different, and we get our first goal. This is another attacking transition we do where Sarr carries the ball up the pitch, and he finds Maddison in space. Maddison picks that ball up, opens his body up, Son's on the run, and he finds him in that quick transition. This is something I was looking at, and I was thinking, oh, if he plays the ball into Solanke, could he do that thing what Kane used to do and find Son on that run? But anyway, Maddison plays that ball into the channel. Son's on the run. He's on his bike. He goes a little bit wide. And what Son does, he slows his run down, finds Maddison. A doggy, for me, needs to tap the box here. This is what he did last season. I felt the decision-making was a bit poor from some of our players. Obviously, they're a bit rusty. Or Doggy never had a pre-season, in my opinion. And he's coming back from a muscle fatigue. So he's not as sharp as he should have been. And that kind of showed in the game. He was looking a bit rusty in that game, in my opinion. But I think a Doggy should be attacking that box, because then Maddison could have cut the ball back to him. Solanke's there, but there should be more bodies in the box. We should be taking a little bit more risk in that position, in my opinion. What he has to do is then get to the byline, because there's not enough bodies there. Solanke's trying to make a run into the box, but someone should be in that front post, I believe, occupying that space, and a doggy should be there. So there should be more options inside that 6-yard box. As I said there, no one's on a penalty spot. And what happens is they've got more bodies in that position. And obviously, if you've got more bodies in that position, you're going to win that particular chance. And that's what happens. They ended up clearing it, and it comes to nothing. So that's what I mean by decision-making. Spurs pressing from the front. We try to force an error. Keeper pulls it into their fullback. The doggy goes. He tries to press him. And then what happens is another turnover happens, because Bentancur reads the play. And Bentancur's quite good at this, seeing the ball early, wins the ball. We get possession back of the ball. And then that's when we come and we become a threat. 4 players around the ball, forced to Son. And if you can see, Solanke is behind the centre-back. He's behind, but he's in a good position. He can run onside. Son's on the ball, but Maddison wants the ball. You can see Maddison's hand there. He's like, give it to me right here. If Son plays that ball, and I'm talking about the decision-making, he's got a high-quality chance there. You understand? Son's got
he probably scores a goal, because he scored a goal in that similar sort of position last season against Burnley, where he just killed it in from the end of the box.
This is what I'm saying. So this is what I mean by decision-making. Like, that particular position there, that should happen. Instead, it goes into Solanke. Solanke tries to do a little back flick, right? And the back flick he doesn't really see Maddison, and then they end up reaching it before Maddison does, and that opportunity goes away. You understand? So that's just some of the bits I just saw when I thought, decision making. If we did that pass. Here's another one. Son's on the ball, right? Son's got opportunity to take his man on, go down the line, or pass it into a doggy. Look at his body, the doggy's body shape. He's got both his hands out. He wants the ball. He's saying, give me the ball. I want it. Look at Maddison. Maddison's in a great space. He's pointing to it. Give it to me here, son. Look, I'm in space. Give it to me. I can find Solanke. If you give it to me in the hole, I'm in between the lines where I should be. Doggy, I'm in between the lines. We don't like our fullbacks invert, but guess what? If you give it to a doggy there, he might thread through either Maddison, or he might do a 1-2 with Son, and then Son can cut across that box into Solanke. Another chance there. But what happens? He cuts back. Son cuts back. I don't know why. He cuts back, and look, the doggy's disappointed. Maddison's pissed. Goes back, and that whole attack is being cut down. And I'm not jumping on Son. I'm not jumping on Son because...
No, but you're talking about the momentum, aren't you? You're talking about the momentum of getting yourself in a good position. And the longer that goes on for, you're more susceptible to lose the ball, and then you see the other side of our game.
We get nervous, and then the crowd start to get up, and then we look nervous and all of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Here's an incident where we've got Maddison on the ball. You can see number 10 on his shirt, and you've got Porro overlapping. Our fullbacks, we don't like to overlap. The fullbacks overlapping, guys. Ange ball tactics. Why doesn't he let his fullbacks invert? I mean, overt, sorry. So then Maddison picks the ball up. He gets in a good position, turns on it, gives it to Porro. Yeah, they link up, puts it through the brother's legs. Boom. Right, Maddison now running to the byline. Look, you can see him. Who's there? Johnson, 22, right? I'm not rating Johnson because Johnson did the same thing as Son. So many times Johnson's down that line and he could be cutting it back, or he could be taking his man on and finding our players further up the field. What happens? Maddison's on the ball. The question is, does Maddison trust Johnson in this position?
No.
This is what you have to ask. He gets the ball, and instead of, look, Johnson still wants it. Look, this is further along. Another clip into it. Johnson still wants the ball. Solanke is expecting the ball to come in. He's trying to attack that front post. We've got another player coming in the back post. What happens? He chooses the wrong option. He cuts in. Look, Johnson still wants it. He wants it on the plate. Solanke's there in the right position. What happens? He ignores everyone and he shoots, and it's blocked. That could be a great chance. One more, guys. One more bit. And this is what I was saying about this decision making, because I need context. We can't just talk about numbers and it's all there in front of us. Maddison on the ball. Sar's there. Look, Sar's on the half turn. Could do a 1-2. Could do a 1-2. But his body's open. Receives that ball. Look who's in front of him. Solanke's there in a position. He's got two centre-backs pinned. That's what we were missing. We were missing a centre forward where they pin the two centre backs. I said to Marlon when I was with him, bro, could we use Solanke where you just get into him and he lays it off to Maddison, or he lays it off to Amada, the brother that's just running in, and we get a shot.
See how close the map had them playing together. Maddison sensed that. He was trying to be around Solanke. He was trying to almost the passing lanes didn't show they were connecting, but positionally he appreciated the additional space he had because Solanke had the defenders a few yards back.
There you go. And remember that, guys. That's what you get with a centre forward. He's going to pin two, not one, two centre backs.
I like Solanke's performance last night. I wish his little header went in. I wish he could have got a bit more direction on his shot. But I looked at his actual game. I like the way that he lets the midfielder put the ball back to the defender and then presses him. I'll be honest with you, Richie is a hard-working presser, but he's not an efficient presser. He runs more. Like, I've been in situations where a coach will say to the striker I've got on my team and say, you run too much. You don't need, because at the end of the day, as a striker, you need to conserve energy because your energy is very important, either as a defender or as a striker, to have your composure. You don't want to be taking a shot on goal and you're there like, and that's what happens to Richarlison sometimes because he's working hard. But I was very impressed with Solanke. I know once you get better service to him, which you're on about, and better decisions being made to him and around him, that man will score 15, 16 goals in that team in the Premier League. Easy. I'll go early and say that. But it's like you say in Ashmatic, if the people around him are not making the right decisions, then he doesn't have a chance. And you could put Gyökeres, Boniface, Isaac, they would be the same. You know, you got to, like you say, you got to risk the ball in those moments, because as soon as you start playing it back and not playing that ball, Yeah, like you see what happens. The attack breaks down, and then it becomes a counter attack, and then you're in all kinds of trouble.
I think on that point, guys, Ange needs to make that happen because, like, obviously Sonny's the superstar. He's the main man in that, but Sonny has to now provide. You know, that's his job now. He has to provide for Solanke. Maddison, yeah, he's a superstar. You have to provide. Those clips you just showed there, Maddison was selfish. You know, he went for the shot. So these guys have to be a bit selfless, and that's down to Ange to build like Bournemouth built the team around Solanke. When you build your team around the striker starts scoring, don't he? You know what I mean?
I would say it works both ways because there's times when you need your players when you're on the edge of the box to hit that ball, to take a shot. To understand, because teams are going to low block us, have about 6 men behind the ball. Do you understand? So that pass is always on, but there's times when the pitch opens up, they're on the attack. And then that's when we look the most dangerous, in my opinion. Do you understand? Like there was a chance that Solanke got. To be fair, if I'm going to critique him, I was going to show it there, but I want everyone to have
he had a few the one before Benson call.
Yeah, the one before Benton Court. I thought he hit it down the throat of the keeper. Pause. Yeah, but I thought if he got out of his feet beautifully because he kind of let the ball run across his body. Then he got the ball out of his feet. I'm saying either you hit it through the defender like what Kane used to do, and then like get into that near post kind of finish, or hit it across the keeper. But either way, you got to hit in the corners, and you need to be composed.
He was trying too hard, man. He's trying too hard.
Yeah, and it's his first game. We're going to snatch at things. Those things are going to happen.
Yeah. And the biggest problem that he's got to learn quite quickly is that he's not where Bournemouth. You know, no one's going to be defending against Bournemouth, right? They're not going to have 4 banks of 4. He's going to get the space and everything like that. Where here, as you said, there's going to be a lot of low block teams. It's going to take him some time just to get used to that, where he can start making these movements and start. Like yesterday was a prime example. Like he got in good positions. Now it's just for him to finish. Once he gets that out of the way, he just wanted to go off his bum. And I think that's what there was quite a few people that you saw last night going, "No, Solanke's not here." But actually, when you looked at his whole game yesterday, there were parts you went, actually, at least he's getting in those positions now. Because actually, as time will go on, he will learn. Because he's going to become, until we play the top 6 sides, every team.
You can't build a relationship. You can't build a relationship in 1 week.
Yeah.
You can't build a relationship in 1 week. So he needs to get to know these guys, man. That what we call telepathy isn't random. Telepathy is intelligent players getting to know each other. So we like the next 4 games he might not score. Hopefully, I'm sure he will. Hopefully he'll score against Everton, but I think we need to give him that time to understand the runs the players around him are making. Sonny likes to, Sonny's got a style. Maddison's got a style. Johnson's very direct. He needs to learn all that, in real time.
But there was I thought he actually played really well. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, because there was a couple of moments. There was one moment where he got the ball and just ran down the wing. Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is new." Because I've been saying for ages, we need like a pressing, aggressive striker who can occupy defenders and run channels. And that one run, I was like, wow. Like, do you know what I mean? Maybe I'm easily impressed.
Doing that him and Billing. When he linked up with Billing, those man had telepathy. What Josh was saying, telepathy. They had that link there. And he's a very good ball carrier. It's very underrated. A lot of people haven't seen it. Good ball. And hold up play wasn't too bad. A lot of
his hold up play it was a little sticky in the first maybe like 10, 15. But once it kind of just meshed, it was linking, he was laying it off, he was carrying. The miss it was a bit Nunes-esque to me. I think Nunes missed one similarly at the end of last season where he hit it straight at the keeper. And it's like you put it either side and it's a goal. No real worries there. I think it's interesting to know, even aside from all the actual chances we missed, there's all the moments where we made the wrong decision. On top of that, just show, like, do you know what I mean? That obviously don't contribute to XG or potential chances, but we just misplaced a pass or ran the ball too far or didn't give the ball. And I think for me, the one criticism I have is I feel Ange panicked a little bit with the subs. I feel like he just like Werner on the right, I was like, what? Like you like Maddison wasn't. You could just easily have been like, right, Bergvall on for Sarr, or Sarr drops to the 6, bring on Bergvall, Kulu on the right. Like it just felt like too much at the same time. It's like I'm gonna make 4 subs.
What do you not think about the starting lineup, starting Johnson? What's you guys' opinions on that, man? Supreme, what do you?
Well, let me go. Yeah, I think that me and Jay had this conversation, and Jay obviously likes both players, but I remember when we were getting him, and there was Anthony Gordon, Kudos, and everything else, and Jay used to pick up Kudos, and like from what Jay seen. No, not Kudos, sorry, Gordon. What was Gordon. Jay was like, Gordon would go into our team and he was like, he would be the winger. And I was always like, no, Brennan Johnson, I know he plays as centre forward, but his rapid pace and all that. But I didn't really have a full understanding of Ange Ball, because I think everyone talks about Ange Ball thinking that they know it, but they don't really know it, because Ange Ball's having to adapt to this league anyway. So anyone that thinks they're an expert on how Ange wants to set up, they're talking nonsense. Because we learned last night when Ange crouched to the ground, he's realising just how complex and this league is to all the leagues he's played in. And then when you look at...
It's only taken him a year.
A man can't bend over now, can he?
What?
I was saying a man can't bend over without being finished. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm sorry.
Alex, your sound's gone.
Wait.
Alex, I like on the water, bro.
I was trying to say that Brennan Johnson got 11 GA in a counter-attacking team that still plays the same. So if you go and watch Nottingham Forest next time they set up, even Nuno's playing it the same. He will put Chris Woods or he'll put Awingi up front if he's fit. He's the best one at it. And then he will put an Alanga with him or a Callum Hudson-Odoi, yeah, and they will be the player, like what Brennan did, to run him behind. But I've seen Brennan at times cutting inside. I've seen him running and do some things. It wasn't really dribbling, but it looked flair enough that I thought he could do a job. But my major thing is for Brennan is that he's a good player playing in a wrong system. And I don't care what anyone tries to tell me, the pressure of it's like you've got a really talented electrician, yeah, who can do a bit of building stuff. So when he fits lights and whatever, he might be able to do a little bit of carpentry or whatever to see you through, but he ain't a winger. That's not what he's an inside forward. So it's like I wouldn't call an electrician now to come and fit my gas cooker. He's going to struggle. And that's what's happening with Brennan Johnson. It's that simple. It's like if he would have gone to like a West Ham or somewhere like that, he would be brilliant. He'd be fucking brilliant, yeah? And when you've got Gordon and then Isaac playing in a front three, if he was the other winger, he would get away with that. But the reality is we've got two wingers that are not even in the top 30 in Europe for dribbling the ball. And Ange is now playing a system where he wants, like you said, the wingers to stay wide. Like this is what my dad used to say to me. I want to see you on the... My dad used to grab me when the game was going on and grab me and say, you need your boots on that white line. You don't need to be in there, okay? And when you seen Johnson holding the whip like last night, the ball went over to him. He takes his touch, but he shits himself from there because it's not his natural position. His natural position is to be next to Awingi and pick which side when the ball comes in, how he's going to play that next phase of play. You're now asking him to take the ball wide and be ready to receive and then go in and do things with it. He looks like a man all the time that's being rushed. And I just believe the pressure, the change of system is getting to him. When people all say, oh, he's shit and all this, I'm not saying that really. I'm saying that I see football for what it is. People fit systems. People do better and things.
Well, that's why he's a bang average player.
Well, that's what you want to say, but he's still
guys,
he's a bang average player.
Can I just come and say quickly on Brennan?
Because I've been quite...
Can I just say, guys?
Is that...
All right, listen. He's
not suited to what we're trying to do, and the only thing that we can hope is that having the older bears and the better players like Son in our team, he will come on. It's like anything. Before I finish, if you're a millionaire, yeah, and I come and hang around with you and I'm broke, there's a good chance I might become rich. But if you're a broke bastard, yeah, and I'm rich in the first place, and we're both living off my money now, we're both going to end up broke. So what you've got to hope is that the quality players that we do have can pull him in line. If not, he is going to have to probably go in a year's time. So that's just the reality of taking.
So should we get Bergwijn back then?
Huh? Yeah.
Should we get Bergwijn back then? Based on what you just said, again, I'm not having a go at you, Supreme. I actually like this. I like this. Yeah, because I need someone to disagree with me. But I'm just saying, like I said before, we let go of Bergwijn. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. Yeah, we let go of Ramthwaite. It wasn't good enough, right? Who won gone off to Villarreal and won the Europa League, by the way. So I'm sorry, I've got to say this, right? I just can't. I'm sorry, Brennan Johnson is bang average. I saw why he's bang average. Yeah, he won the ball back early in the game. Again, I said this on Mr. Box Office TV again. Right, he went from Christensen. Right, then he's looking forward. All he needs to do is just run with the ball. Yeah, he loses the ball because he stutters. Yeah, and Christensen gets the ball back.
Yeah, but you've missed my point. Yeah, but you're making a point and you've just completely disregarded my point. So let me explain it again. He played, and don't try and jump in because you're missing the point. So you need to listen to me now, Bok.
I've listened to the point. I've just listened to you.
I've just listened to you. He's a counter-attacking centre forward. And if you look at someone like Mamouche, who's a centre forward, yeah, he's a player that uses 2 feet and dribbles. If you look at Luis Diaz, he scored more goals and dribbled the ball more than Brennan Johnson. But if you look at Brennan Johnson, he got more assists, less goals, but had no dribbles. So it's all about balance. It's like Luis Diaz.
But he's a bang average player, though. You've just said he works in a counter-attacking team, right?
No,
so why is he coming to Tottenham then?
Chill out, then. Chill out.
No, I'm just making the point. I'm making the point to you.
Box office. Let me make it easier for you. Let me.
Go on then.
Yeah, without you like trying to critique me. Inter Milan won the Scudetto last season playing counter-attacking football. They got to the Champions League playing counter-attacking football. We can't get there. We haven't been there since we got there in 2018-19. So you can chat your frustrated shit at me, bruv, but I watch all kind of football. And you just sound black and white. And you're basically
because it's black and white to me, bro.
No, it's not black. No, but it's not that simple, bruv. Because you're shouting and you're not listening to me.
I've listened to you. I've kept quiet and listened to you.
I accept last night Brennan Johnson's performance is not good enough. Go and look at my Twitter. But I look at what he is and what he isn't. Yeah. So it's like Emerson Royale. All fans will kick his fucking head and say shit. Yeah, I'll agree with it because he's not an inverted fullback. He's not a great footballer. But what he is good at, if you tell him to hold this position and defend like he did against Man City at the Etihad, Basuma was the worst player who cost us the points. Yeah, he will do you a job. But if you say to him invert, yeah, you say to him play midfield, which is alien to him. Yeah, you're going to leave holes in the pitch. So listen to what I'll say again. If you put Brennan Johnson in that Inter Milan team, yeah, he would be a good winger. Yeah, because you're taking less pressure off him to have the ball. They will find spaces in behind for him, etc., and play him through. We're asking him to make the opportunity, something that we've never seen him do at Nottingham Forest. So you'll say he's bang average. And I'll say, in our team, yes. But put him in the right team, probably not. We are not the right team.
Were you saying this in the 90s
then? Then you have to say, you've paid 50 million, you've got 2 choices to make. You give him till January, yeah, to see if he can improve, and his dribbling improves, and his decision-making improves. And if it doesn't, like what most teams would do, you loan him out and try to recoup your money.
So based on what you just said...
Wait there. It's too soon, and you haven't finished the transfer window to add the players to find out whether you can do it. You're just writing off a 50 million.
No. I've listened to you. I've just listened to you. You're making the excuses for him again.
I'm not making excuses.
You are making the excuses for him. No. You've just made the excuses for him. You said he don't fit the system. Right? Good players fit any system, bro.
That's bollocks, bro.
It's not. I'm sorry, no, because this is the excuse. This is the excuse I hear all the time. I'm sorry, right? If he's a decent player, right? He can dribble past players. That should be a standard thing. Ashmatic has shown us how many weeks now on this show, right? Decent players that can dribble past a player, right? Johnson cannot do it, right? And if you're saying that he can, yeah, but so why are we buying him in for 50 million then? Why are we buying him in for 50 million?
Well, that's not my fault, is it? That's not your fault.
I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you, but I'm just counteracting your point. You're saying that he's based on that play.
Can I jump in?
Was he not Ange's signing, guys?
That's what I was going to
That's
ask.
the point.
Yeah, he was.
That's what I was going to ask.
If we're going by what Ange says,
So isn't this all Ange's fault? Ange has not seen what you're saying.
Yeah,
because Ange has made that decision for him not to go to Brentford for 35 million, and we went and spent 50 million on a winner.
And you probably would have been better at Brentford. Playing with Ivan Toney.
Can I just say something? Sorry to interrupt you. Marlon. And start Supreme. By the way, I've got nothing against you. I love this. Absolutely love this. I've got nothing against it. This is just football.
Why would it Supreme?
Make a point in the chat. I've got to make a point in the chat. I've got to make a point in the chat.
Less lovable.
The diddler. Yeah. Rather than getting personal, come back to me about football opinion. Yeah. Because you're looking like a fool. You're looking like a fool. Yeah, right. So if you're gonna start getting personal, you're looking like an idiot, bro.
Alex, you can't be mad at someone called.
Jay.
Everyone getting. All I'm trying to say about everyone getting heated and shouting.
No, Supreme, it's not you.
Wait there. I'll tell you something really quick. I'll tell you something really quick. Yeah. Sam Morsey. Yeah. I used to play with his older brother. And I used to play with him. Yeah. Yeah. He started off life. Yeah. Playing as an attacking midfielder. Let me finish this, please. Yeah. Wolves released him because they said you'll never be good enough to play there. And you know what? Wolves are in the Premier League. Yeah. I got released a few years before. That's where I went to Shrewsbury. Yeah. So he got told you can't play there. So what he did was he said, I'm 18, 19, and I've been told by Mick McCarthy, I'm not good enough to play 1 at Wolves and 2 as an attacking midfielder. Yeah. So then he went down to Port Vale all the way down, and they said, you're not an attacking midfielder because you like to tackle, you like to break up play, you need to play further back. They played him further back. Go and look him up. He started all the way back down at Port Vale. His performances at DM every year got better, and every year he jumped up. Bro, he gave me I haven't got it because I can't remember where I put it. He gave me an Egypt shirt, bro. He went to the fucking World Cup. So it's like, when you're talking, you're looking at it linear, like saying Brennan Johnson shit because he can't do it for Spurs. He can't do it for Spurs right now. But there is 2 things that can happen. You can bring in players like Odebear and maybe another attacking flair player. Maybe Yang comes as well, and he learns to dribble because we'll never see him train. I've watched Spurs players train. Yeah. So when you see these players train, they improve. They get perfect examples. Papi Sarr. Papi Sarr, when he came, he had a touch of a rapist. And then look at my profile. I'm Papi Sarr sexual. Pause. Yeah. But I know that when he got here, his touch wasn't good enough. But if you play with good players, I'll say it to you again. If you're a millionaire, yeah, and I'm broke and I come chill with you for a year, I'm going to be rich at the end of it. It's natural because that's what will happen. I will look what you do and you will pull me along financially. But if you're broke, yeah, and I'm the one with money and you've got nothing to bring to the table, yeah, nothing that we can both thrive off, we'll both be broke. So you're looking at football in just a linear, pig-headed way.
I think I'm allowed to respond then, yeah, because I've let him speak for quite a while, yeah, right? Because he's come back to me a lot of points, and I think I've let him speak for a long time, yeah. Again, there's nothing against you, Supreme, yeah. Again, yeah, you're turning up, and I like that, yeah. Right, I was having a go at this guy that was in the chat because he needs to stop. Yeah, and
there's no need to be rude to you. There's no need to be rude to you.
Supreme, don't worry, bruv. I dealt with this how many times, bruv. Yeah, this is my fuel. Don't worry about the chat. Yeah, my point is anyway. Yeah, is that I get what you're coming from, but I'm sorry, I'm straight down the middle. Yeah, I come from that school of the 90s, right? Right, when I saw players doing it consistently. Yeah, and unfortunately, right, he stepped up Johnson. And he has not been good enough. I don't believe in the coaching staff at Tottenham at the moment because I don't think anybody's improved. The only player that I can sit here and say at the moment I'm quite impressed with is Poro. And I think he can do more. I think he can do 100 times more. Yeah. I'd be interested to see what you're saying. Yeah, well, I think he's doing the same. He was doing the,
I do agree with your point, but the problem is, I don't agree. What I'm trying to say is, I don't think Poro's improved. This is the Poro we saw at Sporting Lisbon. It's exactly the same. I don't think there's been any improvement. It was just that fact is that he had such a low bar when he started because we're talking about he can't defend, he can't do this, he can't do that. We put him in an attacking system like Sporting Lisbon did when he was a thing. We're starting to see what he was doing at Lisbon. So he hasn't really improved. He's just the player we bought for 40 odd million. But I do agree. I haven't seen a player, and I can't figure out a player under Ange that has actually improved.
And he
gone
had
on.
one game a week last season. He had one game a week last.
Apart from Sarr,
for me, because
Pape Sarr, Pape Sarr, yes, but everyone else, even like Van der Ven and all them players and Romero and all that, they were good already. Kind of. I've not seen a massive improvement. If you get what I'm trying to say, like you see players, like you saw.
Hey, do you agree with that? Do you agree with that, Jay?
That what in terms of
that Ange hasn't improved anyone, or the coaching staff haven't improved any players?
Nah, that's not true. No, I mean, like the thing is that obviously, if you look at the team season before, you have to say we were almost incapable of breaking low blocks, and we also had Kane. So you basically have had to reconstruct an attack. I remember Porro's debut, against Leicester, yeah? It was Leicester, right?
Leicester, yeah.
My God, there's no way you cannot tell me that Porro hasn't improved from that game.
Yeah, but you're saying improved, but actually, if you go watching for Sporting Lisbon, the games, the way he's playing now is exactly how he was playing then, because he was in a more an attacking system. But as Supreme said earlier, it's about systems. So if you go and put Porro and go put him in a defensive system. It's not gonna work.
But the thing is Porro.
I wouldn't say he's like, because he still can't defend.
Let's
take the goal last night. Him and Romero completely.
Yeah, but the goal last night was there was like multiple errors.
Yeah.
The first and main error was arguably committed by Romero going out when Porro had the man down the wing. Romero came over, so there was two of them going after one man. Then it meant that he had to run back to the middle to get back in position and stuff. So there was just a failure to communicate. Which
is a regular thing under Ange.
even that Vardy 1-on-1, guys. Porro was left up pitch.
Yeah.
And then Vardy had the 1-on-1. So that's a team issue. But that's a team issue. That's what I'm saying. That's on the board.
Exactly, Josh. That's a structure issue, not a Porro issue. He can't be in two places at once.
He can't.
And if you turn the ball over and he's out of position, I don't blame Porro for that. That to me is.
But that's where I think Pape Sarr, or was it Pape Sarr, or was it Bentancur? I can't remember. One of the guys was not where they should have been. Like, got caught up.
Yeah, exactly. We can make the argument about we should leave a player back in terms of the structure, things like that. I think that those are different discussions. If we're talking about who specifically he's improved, I think Richarlison was in good form as a 9, even with injuries. I think I don't think there's anybody in the squads, like for example, who Ben Davies, I think is at least has high level utility, like compared to what he can give you. What Ben Davies can give you in 2024, he's basically getting the most out of that. Do you know what I mean? Not saying that it's a lot.
I'm not laughing at that. Someone's just put with 2 points off top still. I just found out.
Yeah. So I think Romero's been improved.
No, I was gonna say this Ange ball itself, like we point out the players, but is the system sustainable? No, is it sustainable? That has to be asked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a very good question.
No. And this was going to be my question. Actually, that's a very. I wanted to go into segue, and I was going to ask this question to all of you. Right? What is the biggest concern right now? Is it defensive? Who everyone says they want to Porro, Romero thing, or is it our attack?
You know what?
Because everyone looks.
I'm not worried about our attack one iota. Out of possession is our issue. That's our issue. That's our
one second. Slappy Jack. Just 1 second. Saying I'm clout chasing. Nah, bro. That's on my Twitter. Go and look at the pictures of me with Joe Hart as a kid and all that. I don't need to clout chase, mate, because I said I was shit and I've put all the pictures out there. So then you've got photographic evidence, bro. That's how my page grew. I had 200 followers until I put the picture up with Joe Hart. So just a little respect. Carry on, Jay. I just thought that was funny.
Can I just say something? Yeah, right. Yeah. Have respect for this guy here. Yeah, it's his first time on here. Yeah, he's taken on Mr. Box Office. He's got respect. Yeah, it's nothing personal. Don't have a go. If you have a go at Mr. Box Office, yeah, because if you know you have Mr. Box Office, you know what you're gonna get. Yeah, you're gonna be sitting down, and I'll be saying, if you don't know, get to know. Yeah, so don't come at this kid. Yeah, don't even try it. Don't even try it. Yeah. Have respect for this guy. Have the bottle to take on Mr. Box Office, because a lot of Tottenham fans squirm and don't even try it. Yeah, have respect for my boys Marlon and Smack as well. Yeah, and Josh as well, and even Jay as well.
Only Box
I'm not
Office can have
having
a
it.
go at him.
That's you guys. I'm done. Sorry to interrupt you, but I have to defend my boy. I have to defend I have to.
But Jay is right.
Everyone.
Jay is right. What you have to accept, yeah. Jay is right though. What you do have to accept.
I'm right most of the time.
No, not right all the time, Jay.
Most of the time. I didn't say all of the time. No one's got that Busquets percentage.
Yeah, what you have to accept, yeah, is the only person playing a system like Ange in the Premier League is Ange. And then what you have to accept is all those players that he's got, none of them have played that style of football before. So you can't say actually he hasn't improved any of them. He might not have improved them all individually, but he's improved them as a group. Because let's be real, we were losing, to Southampton and co last season, and we looked from the get-go that we were going to lose. But at least Ange, I can accept having 70% possession and thinking I need two wingers that can take the ball into the box and create chances in the mixer. But where we were with Conte, we were a million miles away from finishing in the top four again. So you have to caveat with it. I hear what some people are saying, that some of these players are only really doing what you'd expect them to do. But when you say that, that's not kind of true, because I mentioned this tweet before that Ange has a total football. It's a Puskas. It's a Puskas Cruyff system. All these players are expected to know what the next man's job is, so they mesh together. So it's like people talk about, we need a 6, we need an 8, we need a 10. And I tell them, well, you're chatting bollocks. You need a 6 because Cruyff's philosophy was that 6 is the anchor of defense and attack, yin and yang, read his book. And that your 3 people up front, they're all responsible. Ruud Gullit taught me this. You're all responsible of taking the burden to create and score goals. Conte will make you laugh, because what he actually did was say that Kulusevski, why he liked playing, because everyone can't understand why Conte got a tune out of him, because it was a decoy system. Conte used to say to Kulu, you will be the anchor of our attack, and Son and Kane will be the targets that you hit most of the time. And if not, because it's like this, Son was the most advanced attacker a lot of the times, and Kane and Kulusevski were the creators. So now you've put Kulusevski in a fixed area. It's why he looks so vanilla, because you've stopped his freedom. He would turn up on... There's a goal against Burnley. Even though he's on the right, on the team sheet, he scored the goal from the left, because Son is occupied just in front of Kane. The goal kick's gone long. The defenders have occupied Kane and Son. Kane's knocked the ball on. Kulusevski takes one touch, puts it in the back of the net. The first season's in. We don't see that now because he's not given that freedom. So it is all about systems. And I do believe, like Jay, it's like he might not have improved certain players individually. I will listen to that, because they're only really doing what you expect them to. But as a group, as a team, you can't say out and improve them, because there's only one man playing that style of football. Yeah, and that's Ange. He has to have his credit.
So on one that, he's improved them offensively, but hasn't improved them defensively. So as a group, offensively and going forward, he has, but defensively he hasn't. Right, and this is why they're making. This is why they're now making mistakes. And just quickly on that, and I'm going to watch this over the next few weeks, right? Because I was watching Liverpool on Saturday, and that slot plays very, very similar where he has 2 to what Ange is doing. So it's going to be very interesting to see if it's very, very much like Ange,
and it's how the same school of thought. If you think about it, traditional football. I thought the difference between a Liverpool and a Spurs is the attacking line. Basically, with Ange,
better players.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Better players in the front line.
Essentially, got Salah. Yeah.
Guys, if Ange knows his weakness, yeah, we all know. Ange knows his weakness. Everyone knows Ange's weakness, yeah.
Yeah, he's got two.
Okay, so say he's got two weaknesses. Is he doing anything about that, or is his plan A just to keep going, keep adding players, keep coaching? Because then you have to ask the question: is how long is this going to take? And is it actually even going to get there?
This is the question. This is the very good question. I personally
think Ange got it wrong in the recruitment of Johnson. I think he got it wrong. I think that was his player, but I just think he got it wrong because I think in the system, like Liverpool, you need killers up top. Yeah, you kill the momentum. Listen,
should have got him Wemo.
Listen,
should have let him go. Brentford.
You punch a team up 2-3-0. Everyone was saying it. Raw. We scored one, but we need one more. We could just tell with Leicester. You score another goal, we kill that game. It's done. I think Ange ball is rush attack. You just done them in that first half. Basically, all that attack. Boom, 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 boom. And there's times when I thought, look, Spurs can control it. We don't always need to speed it up. And there was times when I showed in that clip where we slowed it down before we actually got the goal. And I think where Spurs lost it is when we actually panicked, when the turn tired, when Leicester got a foothold of the game. They scored a goal. Their fans got behind them. And we forgot that, you know what, we can slow it down. Don't rush to attack them straight away. Hold on to the ball. Play around. Maybe bring them in. Yeah, go on.
Sorry to interrupt you, but that's what goes back on the point of why I say we've got no composure in the team. We've got no leaders in the team, in that midfield. Why I don't rate that midfield, right? It's not a surprise we lost our composure after that goal, because that is the same way that we've seen the last game.
That's not just the thingy problem though, because the 45-minute that was Conte's problem. That was Mourinho's problem.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that as well. But the problem I'm saying at the moment is, right, we've not got any leaders in that team, and it's been a problem for a long time, right? But the thing is, though, unfortunately with Ange, right, he's brought in a lot of those players from last season, from last summer, and this summer as well. And everyone was saying that we were cooking the transfer window. So it's got to be a little bit more on Ange as well, because the system as well, I don't think it works.
No, but Ange is taking responsibility though.
It's
just whether us fans are willing, right? And this is where the question comes in, because it's just whether us fans are willing to actually.
But Marlon, it goes back to what I said before, right? It's not on us; it's on the board to stick with the plan from what they said.
Exactly. Guys, is Ange? I'll give you another spin on this. Is Ange a bit like company at Burnley? Is this just all about Ange? And is he twerking for C?
No.
You know what I mean? Is he twerking for someone else? Because you have to ask that question as well.
I don't think it's that. Because people said about changing the system. So I'm going to tell you something now that you've all knocked, that you've missed. Last season, Ange snapped at Chelsea. If you look at the formation, he changed it. He played Pape Sarr as the DM, because he basically said that I want him actually to sit in the bridge of the midfield, because he has got the legs and the energy that if it does fuck up, he can chase. And what he did was he said Maddison doesn't cover enough of the pitch. He will stick on the left side of the pitch, but he doesn't service the right side of the pitch. So he leaves people like Kulusevski completely isolated. So then he said, I've got no reason to play Maddison there. So he changed to a double pivot, if you notice. He played actually Pape at the bridge, because he used his pace and his athleticism for defending. And then he actually played like Maddison. He played Maddison from the left as a winger, because I think that people forget that when Ange came here, he got £70 million to spend on the wingers. And he obviously chose Brennan Johnson, and Maddison was already agreed. There's his 70 million. Yeah. And then obviously Solomon was like, he was like a bonus on the free. But those were his two players that he knew he was getting to play in there, and he wanted that Pepe, and Pepe refused to come here last minute. But when we look at that game, these last few games, he did try to change it, because what he tried to say was, this midfield is just too easy to play for. So I'm going to bolster up the midfield, because Maddison doesn't offer me no defensive work anymore, and he's not getting around the whole pitch. So he tried to play a twin pivot in a midfield, but it was worse. it was so vanilla in attack. So he's gone back to his tried and tested playing Maddison.
The thing is, right? Everything you're saying is cool, but in the Premier League, guys, everything you're saying is cool, but in the Premier League, right? There's not many that would play that way, right? First of all,
I hear it.
Right?
It's very Dutch,
you know why?
You
know why they won't play that way? Because it's the Premier League.
So it's Dutch way.
It's very high risk football, guys. Very high risk football. You can say high risk, high reward, but when it's risky, you got to take the other side.
Yeah, and that explain, and then that's where you have to go back to the last 10 games, because once it's been found out tactically, everyone's now going, all right, we'll just sit here. We know you're going to make the mistake. You know you're going to leave 2 at the back, and we'll make sure that, like the Vardy chance yesterday, right? Like we said, Porro is out of position. It's not Porro's fault. That's the way he's been asked to play. But at the end of the day, this is what's going to happen. Teams are going to just sit there, right, as they saw in the last 10 games, try and hit us on the break and try and get set pieces against us, because those
Vardy fancied it, Marlon. Vardy fancied it, because that's the reason why he said to his manager.
But you look,
you know what?
But you look at the first half, right? Let's all be honest. After that first half, we all went, oh look, the first 10 games of last season are back in that first half.
Wait, but Marlon, they disrespected us.
But Johnson, if Johnson puts away that chance that he gets on the body and puts it on target, we go in at 2-0.
I agree with you, but that's why I said. But that's why I said that front line is not good enough. That's why I said Son.
But guys, wait. We were top for losing leads last season. So that doesn't mean just because we score. That doesn't mean just because we score.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
We've lost 22 points from winning positions.
Thank you.
But also that's the defensive problem as well. Like I said before,
that's a system problem, not just defensive.
Well, who makes the system though? Who puts the system in place though? That's the thing.
Big Ange.
Big Ange. You know what I mean? So, like I said,
the thing is,
is he trying to do the impossible? That's the question, isn't it? Is he trying to do the impossible?
Well, he needs better players, because the thing is though, right? He's going to have to coach these players. This is not a short term thing. When he starts saying we're going to win the league, right? That's just unrealistic.
But a player can't be in 2 positions at the same time. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be Roberto Carlos, but you can't be in 2 places at the same time.
Well, again, so that looks like again where he's got to adapt, which is what we've been saying. A lot of people said this is a Conte team. A lot of people have said this is like a Conte team. You could play a back 3. Right, this is Dan the Hotspur Hood, by the way, because he's the one that first said this, by the way. So it's not me. So I have to give it to him on this one, right? But like back 3, the midfield 4, and then 3 up front. You know what I mean? And Maddison can be that number 10. You know what I mean?
He doesn't necessarily. I get what he means, but you necessarily don't have to play even 3. It's just a case of just don't keep leaving 2 men at the back.
Yeah, I agree.
You're going to be exposed by other teams, because that's exactly what's happening. And Van Ven is not going to get you out of trouble every week, because everyone talks about it. Like, my biggest issue with the whole preseason was, right, everyone was telling me that it doesn't matter. Porro's not in the 11. Your doggy's not in 11. Romero's not in it, and Van de Ven's not there, right? But what the Frouchies were is that he's still playing exactly the same with a weaker defense. But those 4 still let in 40-odd goals last year. So it's not a case of it's going to change, right? It's a case of...
Guys, what would you say is the key difference between this team and the Klopp team, where you had Trent and... how would you compare that? Because those 2 guys...
Fabinho in the 6, Fabinho in the order, and then in the rest, why I call it rest defense in possession. So we play a back possession, and Liverpool play a back.
You look at but I've said this. If you look at Arsenal, when you look at Manchester City, right? There's a reason why Akanji will play on the left back, or you will have Ben White playing right back, because yes, when they'll push forward, but actually defensively, between Rice and White, they'll always be 3. There will never be 2. They'll always be 3. So just in case. So it means that White can push. You see, sometimes White's always there to back up Saka, but actually Rice won't be in the box. He will be making sure that he's helping out the other team.
He's What's the
Yeah,
difference?
but but Fabinho. This is where Fabinho comes into the mix, because Trent will always be that far forward. So if it went over, you got Gomez who was quick, you've got Konate who was quick, you've got, and they had them players, right? So that meant that Fabinho was
But that's Klopp's genius,
and
isn't
this
it?
goes
Because he's
back to
given
South
everyone he's given everyone individual instructions. So this is Ange
Exactly.
giving everyone enough
But
instruction
this is
on the
where
back foot.
Basuma, Sarr, Bentancur, when they're playing in that midfield role, they're not basically protecting
I
Van
did
de
see
Ven and
Bentancur
Romero.
in a back three at times.
Times.
I know it's not constant, but I did notice that when I was watching the game. There was times when Bentancur dropped in the back three, but I hear what you're saying. It needs to be a bit more, like more time, like we saw last season.
The Premier League, like Josh is right, the Premier League will eat you up, right? But if we're being completely honest, Pep Guardiola's first season, right? He didn't have the players. It ate him up. And he had to go out and make sure he had the people in the positions that he wanted. But if you look at the way he played at Barcelona to the way he's playing at Man City, he's made tweaks for the Premier League. And it's just
he's made tweaks as soon as he got here. Because you got to remember, his first season was fucking. He started off bad. He got rid of my boy Joe. He got rid of my boy Joe. He bought that goalkeeper that he said, "Oh, this man. This is why Joe had to go, because this is where my style of play starts." He bought him in. Fabio Bravo, was it? Bravo, was it? Yeah, he got eaten after like one season, and he tried to play this proper total football, wing backs and all this. You go and play on the wing, and he got exposed, and he had a lot of people questioning, can he actually manage it? And every year that he's gone by, one thing that you've all not really mentioned about Pep, if you look at his midfield to his defence, all of them now are centre backs. And he's buying centre backs and converting them to playing. Like Guardiola was basically, when he was playing against us in the cup, he was playing as a winger. Because like he was so advanced and up the pitch. Because of the way that we wanted to attack them, we left loads of holes. And you know what City can do better than us? They can put it into Doku, they can put it into Grealish, they can put it into Silva, and they've got the quality to hurt you and keep the ball. They're either going to hurt you or keep the ball. And they will knock it from side to side and around your box, and they will wait perfectly until they know that the hole's there. Or Foden will just come from outside and just fucking kill you from outside the box.
But guys, think about this,
We don't have any of that.
Which team doesn't know how to counter-attack? Right? Any team that doesn't have to I'm sorry, I know you could argue that counter-attacking is not attractive, but it's a very lethal weapon. If you need it in your armory. You need it in your armory in every game. And we don't have it. Yeah, and that's what annoys me about Ange at the moment is where is it when we do sit back for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes?
But to be fair though, like from my point of view, I think we counter press, so we get the ball back a lot earlier. Or attempt to get the ball back earlier, and also proactively, like top teams. There's very few top teams who aren't proactive with the ball. Like, as in, it's because I think for me, if you counter attack, you're essentially hoping that you can stifle the opposition, or you're hoping that they can't put their attacks together. And top teams want to be dictators rather than dictated to. So I get what you mean, and obviously it's important, but that also comes down to the intelligence and decision.
So if you look at Unai Emery at Villa, he mixes it up. He mixes up the tactic in game. There's a reason. There's a reason for that.
Yeah, but the thing is, Emery's got his tactics. Andrew's got his tactics. You know, like as in, like it's that's stylistically how Emery wants to play, and obviously, like he's had success with it, and Emery's obviously a top coach. I understand aesthetically how the team looks. I don't know, like I don't see any major issues in counter-attacking for me. I feel like the team can counter-attack. I just almost feel like it's more of an issue us being countered. Like, do you know what I mean? As in that's if we're gonna talk about the counter-attacks that I'm worried about, it's inverted Porro.
Yeah, but it's because of the way we play.
Exactly, what's what I'm saying. Anthony Gordon situated on the left-hand wing, holding the touchline all game. You know, back to back. To me, that's probably the most important game. By the way, just on a tangent, that's the most important game of our first 5-6 games. Even more important than Arsenal. We have gotten to Newcastle back-to-back years and been battered. So I think everybody is watching this game thinking we surely cannot go and get a 3-peat. We surely cannot go to Newcastle again.
Don't say it. Don't glitch it, because that's what Ange said. Listen, that's what Ange said last year, and look what happened.
I'll say it. I'll say it like this. There's absolute we cannot lose that game. In my personal opinion, we can't lose that game. Like not losing that game will mean
we are not winning that game.
Guys, one thing on the system. Yeah, let me put this to you, right. Ange ball can drive fear into players, and they can lose confidence. I'll tell you why. If you look at yesterday's game, we were playing great for the first 60 minutes, but the players know that they're so exposed. If they make a mistake, we could be 1-1, whatever, right? We could let in a goal or an attack on goal. So that can make players lose their confidence. We saw that after 10 games last season. Soon as the opposition scores, Tottenham do start to wobble a bit. And that is because the system is so highly risky, like highly, what do you call it? It's so highly attacking that some of these players can't play their natural game without worrying about losing the ball because of the consequences behind them. So Ange ball might look great on the eye, but it can have an inverse effect on the confidence of certain these players expressing themselves because of the consequence behind them. So you need really strong players mentally that you know what I mean? That's a big part of Ange ball as well. You can't have players that heads drop. And yesterday our heads dropped when Leicester scored.
That's exactly why I said why I said we need arrogant players. That's exactly why I wanted swag players.
You
and
see,
we've got too many
Bergvall got that bollocking, from Vicario. And he told him, I love that because Bergvall it was either a sink or swim. And I thought after that bollocking he carried on. Like at first he was a bit nervous, but he kept
himself in the ball first, and then he picked himself up off the ground. Yeah,
this guy's got. But did you see his reaction? Yeah, but you know what makes me laugh? Do you know what makes me laugh? Yeah, everyone I've seen on thing. Oh, we shouldn't be doing it. I'll tell you something about Lucas Bergvall. Yeah, at 15, 14, he was leading out an under-17s team in Spain, playing Barcelona in a tournament, and look how he spoke to his teammates.
Yeah, I heard
it. Saying, I haven't come all the way from fucking Sweden. Yeah, to play in this competition, to play against Barcelona and lose. He goes, we go out here today and we beat these. And we can go home as winners, and say we beat Barcelona. So he goes, and he was effing and blinding, by the way. I don't want to hear no fucking excuses. So he's used to that. His mum and dad, are two professional footballers. He's been brought up. You look his reaction when Vicario gave it to him. He just nodded and accepted it. He didn't try and argue with him. I'll tell you someone else as well. He got an ear bending. Sessegnon. And see what he did? Don't shout at me. But Bergvall owned it because that's how he speaks to people. And I'm hearing people going, no, mate, go and do your research. At 14, that kid was leading under 17s, beating Barcelona in a tournament. Telling his teams, telling his mates, I ain't fucking come. This is his words. I ain't fucking come from Sweden to get beat by Barcelona. When we go home, we celebrate as champions and we can say we beat the mighty Catalonians. But I don't want to see no excuses. I don't want to see mate. He was breaking it down. So he speaks that language. So when people say, you can't speak to him like that. Nah, you don't know him then. Don't speak on him because you've done non-research on him. I have. His mum and dad are professionals. He had a football pitch in his back garden. He's got 3 brothers. He's got neighbours next to him, and they all used to play. And his dad is his toughest critic. So when Vicario would have done that, his dad would have been like this in the crowd. He doesn't need anyone to hold his hand. If you notice when he got
doing it again, though.
If you notice when he got
and in January,
he nodded and got on with it because he speaks that language.
What happened as well, and there was an interview with him recently, and he said, and I can't, some interview with someone else, when he signed for Spurs in January, a lot of teams in that league just started to hit him. Every single week just went bang, 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 bang. When he got his move to Spurs. So I make you right. I think that's why he got up and
just saying what I swore. All the extra stuff, I hear what Supreme's saying, and I hear what you're saying, Marlon. And I know what Box Office is going to say. We're doing it again. We're going too fast.
No, it's just I'm saying it's great.
I'm just saying what I saw after he got the bollocking. He took it like a brother. He took it like a man. I said, yeah, you know what? I said, you know what? I said, you know what? I can respect it. That's all. That's all.
Okay, so if based on what you're saying right now, based on what you just said right now, yeah, in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, right, he ain't hanging about at Tottenham. He ain't hanging about at Tottenham, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make. Yeah, but what's that got to do with being a bad
I said
player?
before, if you're telling me that he's sticking, he's taking all that from Vicario, this guy ain't staying at Tottenham for a Carabao Cup. Yeah. That's the reality. That's the truth. I'm sorry. No, because I'm sorry. This is again what I say again. Yeah, because I've seen this story how many times at Tottenham. I'm sorry. I've been a supporter since 1998, so I've seen the story every single time.
It's
yeah.
true.
And it's with Teddy Sheringham. It's had it with Teddy Sheringham. We've had it with Berbatov. We've had it with Bell. We've had it with all these star players that we have bigged up. We have bigged up before, right? So again. It's all called bigging these players up right now. Okay, if he does well the next couple of seasons, he ain't at Tottenham. He ain't at Tottenham waiting for a Carabao Cup.
Who cares? Who cares? So you might as well enjoy him now. Why he's here?
Like Modric,
this is the attitude we have. This is the attitude we have.
Years, but he was one of the best players I ever watched.
But Alex, we have to have that attitude because we've all seen how this club is run. So at the end of the day, it's not going to change tomorrow. It's not going to. It's not going to.
Alex,
change.
I'll tell you what.
Might enjoy the players that are here now.
I'll tell Alex, bruv, and I love the back and forth we have already. But listen, bruv, I'll tell you what, it don't matter because Pep Guardiola had Julian Alvarez, and he's now got to replace 20 goals, yeah, and a player that can play centre attacking midfield, left wing, right wing, up front, and score 20 goals and get 8 assists. And he turned round, yeah, and said, "I'm bored of winning." Because I'm going to go to Atletico Madrid, who are getting knocked out in the fucking quarterfinal and the quarters, the semis of the Champions League every year. They're not winning the Champions League, and they'll struggle to win the Liga again. But he's gone there because the sun shines nicely, and his mum will be happy that she can now go back into the back of the garden and wear a bikini, because you can't do that in Salford and in the nice parts of Cheshire. So what I'm trying to say is, bruv, that you have to get these players. And let me say something else. Man City bought Julian Alvarez for 16 million, just sold him for 90. So what the fuck are we doing here? Because even if now they want to go and buy a replacement, the replacements cost them fuck all. So they've won a title with him, yeah? And he's done his job, he's done his bit, and the money that's left over, the 90 fucking million pound that we don't have, because we're selling players for 20, Pep, yeah, I'll be honest with you, Alex, yeah? Pep will cry himself to sleep tonight. He'll fill up another Premier League title that he's just won. And the money that he's got, yeah, he can go to the casino. He can treat himself to a fucking hooker at the end of the night and still buy a replacement that'll probably get 15, 16 goals. So it's nonsense that's not even a point you're making. You'll lose your best players. That's just going to happen. But you've got to get them.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's what I'm fine. But I'm saying at the end of the day, right, if we're going to start bigging up these players, because we're saying this is the future. This is the future. Yeah, that everyone's been bigging up on YouTube, by the way, saying the generational talents. Yeah, right. If they fulfill their potential,
stop watching YouTube.
Which no. Sorry, because I wasn't talking nonsense, Supreme. I'm talking the truth. Yeah, because I see the history of this football club that has been a failure since 1960s and 1980s when we actually won trophies. Also 1991 when the club was actually absolute disaster at the end of the day. We still won the FA Cup. Yeah.
And who did we lose? What player did we lose?
Huh?
Which player?
No. But the point is, it was an absolute disaster. We were in the doldrums in 1991, and we still won the FA Cup.
Yeah, but
and what is the excuses now? Yeah, what is the excuses now?
Mr. Box Office, yeah. When you're talking about those times, yeah. Let me just say this quick. We used to be a cup side, and I put it up there on Twitter, like in the season. About 10, 15 years ago, bro, we weren't even getting in the top 10. We might have been winning the last of the FA Cups and having cup runs, which I do believe we should get back to. This is your reality now. This is what you're going to have to listen to very quick. Your owner got the club for £200 million, like in like 2004. Since then, they've put none of their own money in. Fulham recently have put 340 million into their own cash. You fucked them over. Because you can put your own money in, but if you've got a shit... Sorry, I'm not going to be rude to Fulham supporters. If you're playing at the Cottage with 20, 30,000 seats, yeah, you're never going to make the revenue to justify spending that money. Aston Villa and Newcastle are two examples of they've spent over their means and now having to back sell to then keep the same standard. Levy's done it a different way. He's built up the infrastructure, and we'll all say, yeah, that's great now, Daniel. Now focus on winning shit, yeah? But now he's building his hotel, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is, yeah, I would always said we can still go on cup journeys, yeah, and focus on getting in the top 10, getting in the top 4, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately for us, Levy just hasn't done it that way with the cups. But what he has done is took us from being a top 14, 15 team to a 12 team to a 10 team, and everything about the club has gone forward. Now, what I will say is what frustrates us now as fans is that we're not having the cup runs, which there's no excuse for, and we're not really seeing now the fruits of having the stadium so far, the fruits of our FFP room. But that's our reality. So I can't sit here and say, blah, blah, blah about these players going. But what it is when those players have gone at times, he's just gone and loaned 2 players rather than buy the replacement. It's like Pep has bought Savinho, knowing that Alvarez is going to be like that. So you look at Salvino's first performance, I think Pep's probably thought, I'll get away with him and probably bring in one of my academy players through. Who, let me remind you all, Wilson Odobert was a player that Pep had in his roster. That purposely, if you look at your history, he was at Troyes. Where do you go from Troyes? You go then to Girona. If you can perform at Girona, where his brother is the director at the finishing school, you can then go and maybe join Pep. But from Girona to Troyes, you can probably go and get a better career than what you would have had being on PSG's bench. And there is a reason why Vincent was the only person that could get him out of there. There is a reason why Odobert took his time waiting to see what happened with Elise and Doué. Because he said to himself, I left PSG to go to Man City to start playing professional football at 17, to then go to Bayern Munich and sit on the bench, bro. You've got to do your research, and then you can understand why all this works. You know, Odobert,
I don't need to do my research. I've got the history of Tottenham Hotspur, bro.
No, but but if you live there, then, bro.
I'm just, bro. I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. This is filtering my energy right now with this guy right now, bro. Because he's just said something just right now. I'm just relaxing. I'm just hating for the receipts right now. All I need to say is Leicester City, bro. Leicester City, bro.
Listen to this, then. What you gonna
Leicester City. Winning the Premier League and an FA Cup. That's all I need to say, Bob. Yeah.
This is what you're gonna hate. Listen to this one.
Okay, let's go. Let's give it go. Let's give it go.
Watch this for a grenade. Watch this. Last season, we drew our first game against Burnley, but we went on to win. We went on to go unbeaten in the first 10 games. Ange had a record-breaking start. He's the first manager to win those back-to-back manager awards. So what I will say is this, is that I won't accept that second half performance because it wasn't good enough. To show why I won't have it, is because Kulusevski came off the bench and had more touches in the opponent's half than the wingers that were on for 70. That can't happen. That can't happen. A man can't come off the bench and outperform the people that have been on for 70 minutes in the basic form of what an attacker should do. Get into the box and cross the ball. That's why that performance the other day was disrespectful. But the actual result, we can't moan at the result. Because if we go on and have a same run as we did in the last season and have those same 10 games, I'll be honest with you, you won't be crying about that game. Because I wasn't crying about the draw on the opening day against Brentford. People are going to say, you're going to say, wait, there's someone saying to this, Tyler, Brentford or not Burnley. Okay, Brentford's not Burnley. Brentford almost got fucking relegated last season, all right? Brentford almost got relegated last season. Leicester, the owner died and his son took over. That's why they got relegated, because he didn't have a clue what he was doing. Burnley, their owner sold up to the partial owners. The partial owners took over, and in the first season of owning the club, because they had 30%, they got relegated. So when we talk about, it's not Leicester. Leicester won the FA Cup. Leicester won the league. So I can accept Leicester beating us, but I can accept them beating us because they were better. I can accept if they beat us, they had Mavididi and Fatara on the pitch, but they didn't. They didn't. They didn't have their best players on the pitch. So that's why that second half, that's why deep into that second half performance, i.e. the wingers and the result and where we were in the first half, is it disrespectful performance. The game against Brentford in the last start of the last season, we started off poor, Romero got injured, and we had a shaky half, and then we ended strong. And then from that end of that game,
but the difference is, bro, that was a season with no expectations, though. Sorry, Marlon. I'll let you speak.
There's a big difference, yeah. You had Bukayo making his debut that day. You had Royale playing right back. You basically had Davison Sanchez playing centre back. You had Van de Ven making his debut, and you Doggy making his debut that day. We're a year on. You expect to see something different, and a year on. And the problem that I had with Leicester is that Brentford last year, right, was completely different because it was our first game, it was a new system, everything was new, right? So you can kind of counteract that performance and go thing, but you don't expect to go into the first game of this season and see a performance like that. As you said, you can't. You're a year on, it's everything is still the same, and it's on the back end, right? And this is the most important part. It's off the back end of all those performances that we saw in the last 10 games, and it's carrying on into this season, which is the most concerning part.
That's the concern. The concern is he's lost the momentum of what he had last season. And
it's going to be a different run this year.
Yeah, what upset me mostly about that performance, the biggest thing for me was the most upsetting thing was the wingers' performance. I could deal with everything else, but the wingers for me, like being a winger myself, and basically at 19 saying I'm not as good as what I think I am. I need to go and get a job. Yeah, like those wingers should come, like they should be sitting in their houses tonight and sitting there and thinking, this is just not acceptable. Yeah. It's just not acceptable. Like at 17 as a YTS, I would have got a shit show for that. I wouldn't have. You see, at 17, I wouldn't have wanted to go at the end of the game into the changing room because I would have got fucked around. You know what I mean? 70 minutes, and a man's come off the bench who's not a winger and outperformed wingers. So, like, just
on that winger thing. Just on that winger thing, Supreme, or even Jay or Josh, whoever wants to come in. There's a lot of things going around about Son, saying how, you talk about him running in behind and how he was a more of a counter-attacking player.
I didn't think Son was particularly bad yesterday.
I'm not saying he was bad. I'm not saying he was bad. I thought first half he performed.
I'm just listening, Kev. I'm just listening, Kev. I'm waiting. They're gonna have to get me another mic. One to share from Alex and Supreme, innit? Like,
I want to hear from both of you because I know Josh wanted to chime in as well. Josh and Jay wanted to chime in. Sorry, guys.
No, it's cool. So
Ash, I'm gonna leave you to finish. Ash, I'm
gonna
wrap up.
Big up Marlon, by the way. Big up Marlon,
Big up Josh. Love doing things with you. Alex, you in it. Jay, as always, enough love even when we disagree. And when Supreme gets back, absolutely brilliant. Get him on again. We've got to get him on again. But yeah, I'm going to head out.
What, you calling it a day now, yeah?
I'm going to call it a day because I've got things.
I wanted to talk about something. Because basically, in a bit, Marlon, basically, there's a narrative going around, and I know we do this as a fan base, scapegoating. So basically now, and I said to Jay, look, just a caveat, I thought Son played all right in the first half, but it was a game of two halves, in my opinion. I thought first half, Son did his thing, a Doggy and the man, Madison, they all turned up, they interchanged, whatnot. Second half was when I thought he saw less of Son. For some reason, his first touch was a bit baggy. Again, like he was playing close to the touchline. He kind of checked in, he was passing backwards at times. He wasn't really taking his man on. So the narrative that's going around at the moment is Son is not a winger now. People are saying Son's not really a winger because he hasn't got that yard of pace in terms of like dribbling and taking his man on. Should he be more of a wide forward as opposed to a winger, or do we need to get someone else in because he doesn't fit the actual system? Because Ange wants two out wide wingers. Do you know what I mean? That can beat their man and supply crosses.
So the way I look at Son is, first of all, when you have two wingers as well, you also sometimes you want to have a complementary winger to the other side. I feel like Johnson and Son are not really complementary wingers. It's almost like one of them should start really, and the other one should be a real dribbler. So obviously Odebear and Johnson, or Kulu and Son, and that, you know, that you get more out of it because essentially you can have an arriver at the back post. Somebody beats their man, arrive. When you have like a Son, a Werner, I think Son can be. The thing for me, people confuse, in my opinion, dribbly winger with creating separation and being able to get across in. Yeah, you don't necessarily need to be a dribbly winger to be able to create separation from your defender and put a ball into the area. I think people have that a little bit confused sometimes, and think that you need, you know, I'll take a winger that can create separation and put a good ball in over a winger that can beat his defender, you know, all day long but struggles to complete the final pass. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so with Son, I thought he had Justin's number in the first half, was making good movements. The three, him, Maddison, Udogie were running off each other, running into space. Great. The thing with Son is, Son, like you mentioned with Udogie and the runner and things like that, is that sometimes you need to create space for the player to be able to attack the ball. You need to give him options. You need to give him the way round. He didn't have a good second half. I weirdly enough actually saw Son's future as a number 9. I did think that long term, his evolution as a player, like other players like a Di Natale or other older wingers, even Ronaldo, you know, for example, who Griezmann, you know, who went from being a winger to being a striker, number 9, false 9, whatever. So I think with Mikey Moore, Odebear, obviously Heung coming in January, you've now got 3 wingers who have that profile of being dribblers who are able to beat their man. So I would say that Son on the wing is still very capable and is still going to give us GA. I just think that maybe some of the things that are highlighted in an Ange system does not get the best out of him. And as such, you're going to see a material impact when, you know, he's going to play in a certain way. But sometimes, you know, the passing the ball back and retaining possession, that's not a terrible thing. You know, people will say he does, because it's like, it's a thing that we had last season where we didn't retain the ball. We were too direct. We were too vertical. The ball comes back. So I think I don't want to read too much into game 1 of the season. I think people do want to make a sweeping judgment based off it, but I still think he's a high quality winger. I think he needs to focus on creating separation. You know, I agree. Second half, his touch wasn't good. But the team itself was good enough as a whole to win this game comfortably. So when I look at the individual performances, like the wingers and stuff, I understand that they didn't play well, but I almost feel that's not the reason. Our wingers is not the reason why we didn't win the game. It was almost like if everyone just needed to be a little bit better. Yeah, if everybody played a tiny bit better, it would have been fine. Do you know what I mean? But
it's just, where do you stand on this?
Even if we just put a couple of goals away, man, the game would have changed. Leicester would have come out. We would have hopefully have played through their sort of.
You sound a bit low, though, bro. You sound a bit low.
1 second. Come back to me in a minute.
Yeah, cool. All right, so back to your point, Jay. You were saying basically that Son can play in a 9.
Yeah.
Bro, I sound like echo. Can you hear that?
Yeah. Josh is giving you.
So look, on the Sonny one, you can't.
Hold on. You're echoing a little bit.
Oh, shit. Come back to me again. Come back.
All right, that's mad stuff. Let me mute you. Hold on. Yeah, that's better, man. Hey, yeah. So I've lost my train of thought because a lot of people think that. Does Son fit the system more? Because in a counter-attacking team when he's playing off the shoulder as a wide forward, as a number 9. Now you've got Richarlison and you've got Dom Solanke there. Does it really make sense for a Son to be there? And if you're saying that he is a Ronaldo type, or
it's that's what made the Solanke move interesting. Obviously, you see the benefit of Solanke straight away. What I was trying to mean, Eugene, is like, I'm not, the reason we didn't win wasn't because of the wingers, even though the wingers could have helped to score more goals to win the game. If that makes sense, it's almost like a point within a point. It's like, I agree that they could have helped us do better in the game, but I also think that, you know, the players could have still won this game with the performance level that people put out there. It just wasn't tight enough. But I'm a big fan of the players, you know, developing together. Son's not played with Solanke before. You know what I mean? In terms of the movement, the runs, there was some good moments there. But again, you know, I understand where people are critical of Son, but Son's been consistently pushing back on these people with his GA over the last few years. You know, it won't be the first, it won't be the last. So I think you're right in showing the limitations, but I also thought, I thought Son had Justin. I don't know what happened in the second half, but in the first half,
what happened basically was they were letting us build up from the back with the 2 centre backs, and then they started pressing us aggressively. They gave us less time on the ball, and then what happened was, when we had less time on the ball, we were making mistakes where we were going long at times. Like, I saw Mickey van der Ven try to do a ball long into one of our midfielders. I don't think it was Dom Solong he wanted to go into. But it kind of bounced off, and then they won the second ball. So we weren't winning a lot of the second balls. When the ball went down the sides and we tried to progress down the sides, Song would sometimes drop in. And when he did drop in, the player was a lot tighter to him. And that's when sometimes Song, like you said, would want to recycle the ball, keep possession. But if he did try,
sometimes he got the ball nicked as well, didn't he?
They win the ball off him. And so
I do agree with what Jay said, though, because I think fans do quickly turn on Son when he doesn't, like, Son has one bad game and does a couple of bad things, and people are quick to kill him. I've never been like that. If you look at me, I very rarely come for Son, other than the fact that I will say that, like, I will go for Johnson more, because you know why? Son's got credit in the bank. I've been in the Champions League, finished, beaten before the whistle's taken, and Son has shown us that he has that. He has the composure. He can do something special. He can magic something up, and he has the mentality to do it. So when he doesn't have a good game or does think, people like go from one metric to another with him, that, oh, he's shit now and whatever. But that is only because they have high expectations of him, because he has been able to do it. And I was a bit like Jay, thinking that as his latter years will come, you'll play him closer to goal, because Son has scored over 100 Premier League goals. All of his goals are 50-50 spread across 2 feet. There's nobody so far that they've recorded in football ever that's ever had an almost 50-50 split of the goals scored across their both feet. So it's like, that just says to you alone the quality of this guy. But you need, if you're going to play him as a striker, players that can take up the burden. It's like, I believe this. If you played Son as a false 9 with Kudos and Bowen, you'd cook. But you're not asking him to play with 2 people that, like Jay said, all 3 of them in that attack have different attributes. Kudos can dribble from his own box into the other half. Bowen can run in a straight line, and he's very good at just turning up in those wide spaces we don't expect him to turn up. And then if you had Son playing in there, he's already now got a space to play. But he hasn't got that at the moment, because we don't really have the players. So then what people will then do, like what they're doing with Solanke, it's then Solanke, oh shit, or but you have to really deep what you're saying on one hand and then doing with the other. We'll say that the wingers, on the whole, like Jay said, don't complement each other. But then you'll then say, but they want Son doing this, but then you've already omitted the fault. You admit that they don't mesh together.
So Supreme, on that point, does Wilson Odegaard, does he walk into the team on that point? Because if
he does, because Wilson Odegaard Wilson
Jason,
Odobert, yeah, when you look at his stats over a game and watch him play, you see all that passing the ball back. He would rather take the ball than lose it. You've seen it when he played against us. Really, he had a great 45 minutes where he caused all the... Is it Kerkrez that plays for them as well? Who plays for Burnley? No, I think he plays for Bournemouth, actually. But there's a player like Kerkrez who plays for Burnley. Yeah, and him and Odobert did a job on us. Because in the first half, we were scared to take the ball off him and to hit him. And then Romero, as he does, hit him. And he didn't want to know after that. But that's what he's going to do. He's not going to get the ball. It's like that goal that everyone plays when scoring at Burnley. Look at it. He gets the ball, 1-2, takes it to the box, bang. Because he's been taught to play in a way that I always say this about certain players. Odobert will be my favourite signing. Purely because he plays football the way I wished I could play. He can't speak English yet, but he just knows what it takes to be a threat. This guy left PSG at 17 to follow his dream to be a big name in football. He could just stay at PSG and live off the clout. He was playing with Xavi Simons and Neymar. And what happened with us this summer where we lost Wolves King to Man City, because Man City sniff around all your best academy graduates, that he was due to sign his new 3-year deal at PSG, permanent contract. Man City got in his head and changed that because they said to him, you need to play football. You need to display your attributes. So it's like Odobert for me, like purely on footballing technique and IQ alone, he gets in there over Brennan Johnson because he can use both of his feet. He can dribble. He doesn't look to pass the ball backwards. It's not what he does. This man is in the top 10 of kids under 21 in the top 5 leagues for dribbling. And the only other person, there's 2 people that are in the Premier League that have got more dribbles than him. And it's that Brian, whatever he's called, that's gone to Bournemouth. No, not even him. Because he's under 21. These are people under the age of that new kid that Brighton have just bought.
Braden Gruder.
Yeah, and we were interested in him. And then you've got Destiny Adu. Destiny Adu, yeah, we're talking like he's got 60 progressive dribbles this season, i.e. where he's dribbled the ball and he's not had the ball taken off him, yeah? And Destiny Adu's only got 6 more than him. But if we would have signed Destiny Adu, like Paul's, everyone would be covering their bedroom in spunk. But because they don't know nothing about, they'll be learning about Odobert. And I've noticed as they're learning, they're shutting their mouth. As they're seeing pictures of him, you know, Cruyff turning against Neymar, yeah, they've started to this guy can't. Oh, he's played with Xavi Simons. Okay. So they're now starting to see the vision of how he's ended up here. But for me, Ash, he gets in over Johnson just purely because he suits our style of play. We want somebody that we can give the ball to who don't want to pass it back. And if he loses it, so be it. But we're only going to lose it when we pass it back and we fuck around with our food anyway. He might be able to get
North London Derby, yeah? You're saying North London Derby, he turns up, he's there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. He could have like a Van der Vaart performance where you get a player like Van der Vaart, if you remember, who anybody had any balls in the game to sort of try and do something. Because all we've got at the moment is a lot of intelligent players that can maybe thread a ball through. He's that player now that you can give the ball to and he'll do step over. He'll put it through someone's legs. He'll Cruyff turn. Ball's in the box. He might get an assist. Not one of our players has got that in there. Not one of our players has got the bollocks to do what Odobert will do. And you know what will happen? He'll be like Ronaldo. He'll lose the ball a few. Because somebody put it up the other day and said that, you know that little like reel of Ronaldo and he's like cutting. He's on the lawn and that and whatever. And they said this would have been Odobert's debut. And they were getting at the fact that when Ronaldo had his debut, he tried to do all those tricks and flicks and whatever, and he got nailed. But the next game and the next game and the next game, a star was born. That's I've already put it on Twitter. I put my house on it. That kid takes us places. I believe in 2 years' time. I believe in 2 years' time we'll get a.
Hey, Josh, is soon.
And PSG, because what people don't understand, PSG have loads of talented young players, and they can't keep them all, so they sell them all with buy rights. And there is actually, you know, the sell-on clause. It's a what's the word? It's a domino effect. Because when they sold him to Man City, to the City Group, Troyes, because you can call it Troyes, but Man City own Troyes. So he went to Man City. That's how you have to see it. Man City have a buy-out clause on that, yeah. And that's why Levy had to negotiate that like 5 or 8% that he's got, because it's all that's coming back from PSG. That's PSG's money that they want out of what he sells for. Because they know that we will probably, if we develop him like Dodgy, like Van de Ven, and I said this on Twitter, if it follows our trend, we could potentially have a £60 million player. So then what will happen is, can we have him back, please? And Levy will say, 80 million. Look how many PSG players like Ekitike. They fucked off Ekitike, young Hugo Ekitike, scores a few goals, buys him back just to fuck him off again. Because that's what they do. They can't keep all these young talents, but we can. We can give him a place where he can express himself, nurture himself. He will probably get back into the France team, like what's happened to Adoji, Vicario, and Porro, all playing international football because they've joined Spurs. We'll lift his profile. He will take us places. And I've got all the patience. I've bought my ticket. I'm on the front of the bus, yeah, and I'm on Odobert is my favourite player. He's my favourite player. He hasn't even played yet. Because I know what that boy's got. And that boy's got things that, this is the truth. He's got things that Brennan Johnson's never going to have. Never, because he's never been coached to play that way. He's not played with Xavi Simons. He's not played with Neymar. But Odobert has. He's playing professional football at 16. It's not a kid. This is not a kid that you've just wheeled up. He's the most experienced player out of the Greys, out of the Bergvals. He's more experienced than both of them. Yeah. He's been playing fucking League 1. He's more experienced than Destiny Adu. That's why when I put that sofa score up, there's a bigger sample size, that's a word I got from Jay, of his football than there's a bigger sample size of what Odebert's done than Doué. But people will be like, oh, we needed Doué. We need to spend 55 million. And me and Jay had this. I said to Jay, like, oh, we should go and buy Chiesa, blah, blah. And Jay said, how do you don't know if Lange hasn't found another player that's similar, that can do the job, that might be cheaper, and that we don't know? And I was saying to Jay, oh, no, Jay, fuck off. You don't know what you're on about. But I knew who Odobert was. But guess what? Because I'm seeing him in the number 10 role, I completely didn't think about the idea of this guy playing on the wings. So when we signed him, bro, that was that's my first enjoyable day of the transfer. Because I know there's a player there that will suit Ange's system.
Can we let Josh say something? Because I'm just
Josh, before you go, yeah, because I had a sidebar conversation with Ash about Odobert, and we were talking, and I was like, because I was basically saying he reminds me a bit of a cross between Barcola and a younger Sterling in terms of how he runs, how he approaches it, all that sort of stuff. And I agree a lot with what Sarprim's saying, because essentially when you look at what I was looking at Odobert and Solanke, that's where you see the benefit of a Lang, because the things are under your nose and you don't think to yourself, oh, this is the player I should go for. But when you then break down why you're signing that player, you're like, this makes perfect sense. Do you see what I mean? And that's the skill of a good director of football. Yeah. and people, for me, it's very simple. You want a dribbly winger who has the ability to play on both wings and has experience in the Premier League.
But
that list is
the same guy that got Timo Werner in, by the way. I need Josh to speak, but I just want to say that. I just want to say that.
What I'm saying is obviously
bloody hell,
bro. Listen. But my point is what I want isn't necessarily the same as what the club want. Yeah. So you might say Mbeumo, but Mbeumo will not solve the problems that we've just explained that Johnson and Son has. Yeah. We needed a different kind of player. And if you look at Neto, two-sided winger who dribbles in a certain way, that's the requisite. Two-sided winger who can have a high volume of dribbles in a game and has Premier League experience. Go. Yeah? That list isn't big. Yeah? And the fact that you got Odobert on that list, and he was probably looked at, because Company even said about Odobert, like said, yo, you guys have no idea how good this guy is. Yeah, we don't know. I don't know where company's head was at in terms of this player. But I know that he's leaving this club now, and we've made a good deal to get this player. Does it mean that there wouldn't be better players than him right now that we could get? No, there is. But for the ceiling and for what we're trying to do in the fit, he's the best player the club's looking at and say, this is the best player we can do right now. He's young. We might be going a year early on this player, because what we really would have liked to have happened is Burnley stay up. He has another season with Burnley, puts up even better numbers than last season, and boom, he's good to go. But now we're still taking this player off two top flight seasons. So he's played 2 years of top flight football. The numbers that Destiny Doué was getting, like, and fans were like, sign him up. Yeah, they're not. Do you know what I mean? They're not so much better than Odebear's numbers.
8 goals, 6 assists, and everybody was speaking like he was fucking the first coming. Don't get me wrong, he's a great talent, but like I said, he's only produced 6 more dribbles this season than Odebear. Odebear can't speak English, and he's in a foreign league. I said this to people. I've played with foreigners that come here. When they come here, you have to think, however they're good they are now, he's only going to get better because he'll learn English and he'll be able to understand more. That's why Ange just got that coach that he used to have that can speak all them languages, because he wants to be able to speak to Pape in a way that Ange hasn't been able to. And these little things, like what Jay's saying, when you get a young player with a ceiling like that, I say this to you, doesn't matter. You can take Brennan Johnson to PSG and you could start coaching him now for the next 5 years. He will never be as good as what Odebear will, because he hasn't got that. Like, somebody told me something, a coach, and he said something that's about posture. Like, when you're not playing, you need to walk with your chest up, walk with your head up. And he says you see that in players, how they hold themselves and they move the ball and whatever. I can look at Brennan Johnson, and look at him and tell you now, because from what I've seen of footballers, he will never have what Odebear's got. He's never going to have it. And that's okay. But as long as he can work, like Jay said, in a complement a formation of our system where he's useful to us, then it doesn't matter. But Odebear, he's more useful because he's more versatile. And that's just as simple of it is. At 19, he's been playing football since he's 16. He's been used to high pressure environments. He's been playing under 21. He's been playing French national football. This kid, I say it again, I've put all my stocks.
I hear it
because I believe in him.
You basically put your house in him. I just want to hear what Josh says. Josh, can you hear me? Say something, Josh.
Can you guys hear me?
You sound mad low, bro. You're still kind of low. I wanted to move to. I know I feel bad. That's why I was letting him carry on for so much. But
try it without headphones, Josh. See if that works.
Yeah. Because I wanted to talk about the whole Gomez and Locatelli situation real quick. I wanted to ask him about who he wants as a defensive midfielder. Everyone's crying for a defensive midfielder.
Gomez is in London right now. They're trying to negotiate the deal. I've had it. I've told everyone. I posted before. Gomez is still in London, but the problem is we could have bought him for 30 million in January, but we didn't really want to do it because we bought Dragusin and we said we've got enough for midfield. The problem is now he's got 4 years on his recent contract extension, and Spurs don't really want to pay 50 million for him. So he's in London on standby.
What are you saying? Locatelli or Gomez? Who's your ideal? What do we need?
Gomez. He's got more legs.
I'm taking Locatelli because we need experience in that midfield. And I'm sorry, I think we've got too many young players. I think unfortunately Supreme is bigging up this Odebear, which again, I need to see it. I'm sorry, I need proof. I don't see it for me as far as I'm concerned. And I'm like I said, too many nice players at our club for me. And I think Locatelli would be a calming influence in that team at the moment. That just shown you. We just lost something yesterday, and it's not just yesterday. This has been happening later part of the last season. I wasn't impressed with last season's performance. I kept on saying, I said this on Mr. Box Office TV. You know this, Ashmatic. I said we're a moments team. for a reason. Yeah, we're a moments team. Yeah, and it's not changed. It is not changed. Locatelli for me is a winner, right? You have cohesion. He'll be calm. He'll slow the game down. He'll tell people when they need to be told what to do as well. And I think for me, you need a couple of them. I think you need a couple of them because I'm sorry, I just do not trust that midfield.
You know what it
Yeah?
is? It's kind of mad because I think people are writing in the comments. They're saying Gomez has got the legs, he's quick, and we lose that ball a lot of the time. And that's where teams hurt us in the transition and the counter attack. And you need players that are going to be able to do what Sarr does, that kind of ball recovery. And I think with Gomez, he gives you that. And there's a reason why they nicknamed him Pitbull, because he defends like a, you know, how the Brazilian.
He's got the most defensive tackles last season in the transition. He's the best defender of counter attacks. He won the most counter attacking. He won the most counter attacking saving tackles in the Premier League last season. Better than Rodri.
I would say on box office as a point, I think with Locatelli, he looks like someone, and it depends on what type of Locatelli we're going to get. But he looks like someone to me, a similar in Bentancur mold, where he can put a foot on the ball, he can control the game, slow it down, and he can do those balls over the top, those diagonal balls, something where we can hit our wingers and we can quickly turn the game, turn those quick transitions and those quick turnovers into a game and turn defense into attack really quickly. So like Højbjerg, yes, you do lose a lot of legs in Højbjerg. You might lose a little bit of legs in Locatelli, but you'll get the aggression from a Locatelli and the actual tactical nous from a Locatelli positionally. You know, he knows where to be on the pitch because he lives in that Serie A. They live on defending, if that makes sense.
And you don't need pace. You don't need pace. These players.
No, you're right.
These players can control the speed of the game. That's the thing. Yeah, so I'm sorry, these people that say they can't run, they know how to do it. Jorginho for Arsenal that they got from Chelsea, everyone's complaining about him, right? Look at that influence on that team because he's got the winner and he's got the mentality up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What I won't have though, Box, you know, when people slag off Locatelli and say, oh, you shit that. Well, they all told us Bentancur and Kulusevski were shit. And they got us top 4. We were nowhere near it. And they come in and got us top 4. So when people say, oh, Locatelli's playing shit and that and whatever, I'll be honest with you, yeah, people said it about Chiesa, but he still got 10 GA. But no one wants to go back on the manager that got the sack for playing the most horrible brand of football ever. He won. He was like, I think he's got a top 4 finish, but the fans hated Maximiliano Allegri's football, so he had to go. So you can't diss the manager and sack him and then say the players are shit. And then we took players that they've told us were shit, but when they came into our team, they were the best 2 players in our team. So that's why I say to people, when they say, oh, Locatelli's shit, I'm like, bring him then. Because that's what he said about Bentancur. He ended up being my best midfield when he came here. So, you know, I would take him. But he wouldn't be my top of my list. But do I see your vision of what he could do for us? Yes, 100%.
I just want to go on, Jay. Go on. I didn't know you were still there. Jay? Yeah, go on. I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah, Locatelli. I mean, it's kind of like. I mean, Locatelli. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'll take it. I mean, like.
You're not impressed.
Not like this.
You're giving me mad vibes.
He's going cheap.
They're saying like 20 mil or something, innit? Or is that?
Yeah, 20 million euros.
I mean,
so 80, same money as Bentancur. It cost us 80 million.
I prefer creative thinking. If they're looking at Locatelli and they're thinking he's going to solve, to me, he doesn't. The thing I feel we lack is somebody who can cover defensive areas. Really, you know, like, you know, that, and obviously take the ball in, like, he's not to me like a creative solution.
You know, the player that we should pursue that, but Ange has asked for, but they're scared of his wages, is Fabian Ruiz. That's your man. That is your man.
Someone like Fabian Ruiz would help the team a lot.
Yeah,
I agree. You know,
35 million euros.
I like him, I think.
He's 35 million euros and he's 150 grand a week. And Ange has asked for him, but the club are not really willing to pay his wages.
The question I'll ask then is Ange, because Ange said like he wants to go for title challenges.
Yeah.
And some people will be like, that's delusional. Like he needs to calm down and toe the line a little bit because you're bracing up your fans, but are you able to deliver? Is Ange really being back? Because some people are saying, "No, Ange is a yes man for taking some of these players that aren't really the levels that what he needs to have to get to that title challenging season." So, what do you guys make of it? Do you think Ange is going too far by saying, "Oh, I want to go for the title," or should he be coming out with this and raising the expectation of the players, the fans, the clubs? Because he's saying,
can I quickly on this? Yeah, like I see it both ways. On the one hand, I feel like we've got a lot of young players. It's very difficult to look at two 18-year-olds and a 19-year-old and then look at what Andrew's saying and put the two things together. Like I'm a logical person. I think it's very, very difficult, even being positive, to be like that plus what you're saying based off what I saw last season and saw in pre-season. I don't see that. I think it's positive I think it's a very tricky path that Ange is trying to go down. I see it, but I feel when you say that you have the final say with the players and things like that, and you say it quite vocally, but then you also say you want to win the league and things like that. And I think we can all see that, maybe if we bought Neto and we brought Neto and Solanke in a window, people will be looking at it thinking, yeah. But with the young players, you gotta be like, I want the manager to be able to have a sense. It's very, going apples and oranges with Conte being like, we can't win, and Ange being like, that's the aim. So it depends on how the fans are able to dissect that comment in terms of you want to win every game and that should be the plan and aspiration. And obviously every season you should start off by aspiring to win the league. But then the reality of these players that we've got in is that the club, to me, looks like they're looking for the team to peak in 1-2 years' time. These players and signings, they don't scream right now we're gonna go and win, which is slightly different to what the manager's kind of saying.
Can I just say something? I respect what you just said, by the way, because I know that would have been difficult to admit that. And not the fans thing, because you know how I feel about the. Unfortunately, I'll go back to what I said before, and if it was going to be more what I say, but unfortunately, this is fact, right? If the board back Ange, they back him through hard times when the fans are saying Ange out, like Arsenal with Arteta. Yeah, Arsenal with Arteta stuck with Arteta through bad times when they said Arteta out. And look what's happening now with our Arsenal right now. Yeah. But I have to give it to you because that would have been hard to admit it because I know you, Jay. I know you, Jay, for a long time now. You admitting that, yeah, I absolutely agree with you because I'm sorry. Again, it goes back to what I said before, right? And Supreme, yeah, you're going to be on the show a couple of times now, yeah, because your performance today has shown that you're up for the fight. Right, I'm not the worst guy that you're going to be debating right now. Yeah, so get used to it, bro. Get used to it, because he's got he's lining them up for you right now. Yeah, he's lining them up for you.
Phase one, yeah, phase one.
You're a suffering Spurs fan, and nobody wants to start the season thinking that I'm not going to win anything. And it's like it's expensive to watch Spurs. We all know that, and there's that banterism that in reality, yeah, you can even be a West Ham fan and you've won something. So it is hard to comprehend. And I am with Jay. I want to win something this season. I look at Atlanta, their squad's worth half the amount of Spurs, and they've gone and won the Europa League. But where Jay will make me see reality is we should be trying to win it. We should be favourites to win it. But like Jay's basically putting the point of, like, the club has gone back to its roots. So when I spoke about Kyle Walker and Danny Rose and Dele Alli, that's the team that went unbeaten at home. They've spent money now on £60 million players. They've spent the money on £55 million players and tried to construct a more expensive squad than what they would like to. And actually, what they learned is because we don't really want to shop in this end of the market consistently, it's a waste of time. It's like, Jay will agree with me. There's no point in going out and putting £100 million players in a team, like what Jay said, that doesn't mesh together. You might as well take the 100 million and get 3 players that together can mesh. Do you understand? Like if you get one good player, like what Chelsea are doing. Chelsea, realistically, if we just isolate a Caicedo, because it's sometimes just him, and Enzo Fernandez, you can't just put £100 million player in a team that has no identity, they don't blend. So when Jay says that like this team will peak in 2-3 years' time, because it's due to age, and maybe we'll be pissed off, like Jay said, that we're not winning things right now, but maybe through the cuts, the bruises, the journey that you go on, like we did when we had those players, your Kyle Walkers and all those players that we developed ourselves, and how close we came to winning, we might get back to winning something.
Box office is saying,
but the problem is
the manager going to be around for that long, isn't it? Is the manager going to be around for that long? And then to that other point as well, that a lot of fans are quite stressed out because we've been on a project for 24, 25 years.
Yeah.
And we keep reinvesting in the here and, well, we don't invest in the here and now. It would be nice if we sprinkled some experience alongside some of the youth players. And like Jay was right, you know, if Neto had come in, I think we'd be talking a little bit different right now. We'd be talking a lot more spicy, but us missing out on a Neto. And I think for some fans, because we've gone for Odegaard, for me, when I saw Odegaard at Burnley, I was like, who's that player? He's better than any of our wingers. What's going on here? But his end product for me is still raw. Like, and I appreciate actually on his left side, when he's playing, he predominantly played on the left. I know he played on the right and he played in the 10. But on the left-hand side, I was impressed because on his weaker foot, he's actually crossing. He's actually attempting proper crosses on his weaker foot, which is mad to me. Like he's actually on the left hand, you know, like most man on the left, they would have to cut back and then cross on their stronger foot. Nah, brother, he's on the left and he's whipping balls on his left. And if he's on the right, he's whipping balls on his right foot. It doesn't matter. He's just taking you to the line and he's going on the outside and the inside. And that's one thing I will give him. But he is raw. And for me to rest all of my hopes on a 19-year-old that's quite raw, and I wouldn't say he's not proven because he has done it in the Prem, but in this system, in this club, as you said, he doesn't speak a lot of English to new teammates. He's got to learn how they play, etc. As box office, I know the pedigree he's coming with PSG, as you said before. He's played with Nick. Well, he said, and I saw the interview. He said he looked up to Neymar because he watched them man play. Ronaldinho, he's watched them man because obviously because he's come
at
through.
PSG, they do balls days where they just play with the ball and Xavi and there's 3 players. There's another player from that PSG era that were allowed, like what we've done with a certain players. There's been a 15-year-old lad, I don't even know what his name is, that has been allowed to train. Not just Mikey Moore. There's been another kid.
Hey, brother, I don't want to gas it. Carry on first. You go first.
And they were training. You know when they just do days where they just do training with the ball. They were allowed to go and do the ball day training. Well, they weren't doing like tactical training and tackling each other. So that's what I'm saying. Odegaard has played with. He's been used to being on the big stage. PSG, but so just so we understand, we're not selling him. He was going to sign his first pro contract. He was a French international player. You don't let them players leave your club. But what happened is what City do. City offered him the chance to say to him, you come into the City group and we'll make you a professional footballer. And look what's happening at Ashmatic. He's becoming a pro. You know, there'll be players that have played with him at PSG that will still be no closer to making it as a professional. Whereas he's had experience from 16, 17. And guess what? All those times of him having those first sort of like stinkers, he's having them stinkers away from us. He's not putting our real sort of points and stuff on the line because we've gotten 2-3 years on from his debut.
Would you take him over a Sterling 100%? Sterling.
Huh? Not 2 years ago though. Sterling But say Sterling didn't go to Chelsea and came, and it was like back to that position where he was going to go to Chelsea or he could come to Spurs. I'm taking Sterling over Alderweireld. I'm sorry, because he was a demon, and Chelsea's environment pulled him down. Like I say, a millionaire, you become rich. Losers, you become a loser, and that's all that's happened to Sterling.
I think he's lost his pace. I think he's lost his pace, and I don't think he's a pace merchant. I think he's a pace merchant.
I also I like Sterling. I think he's a good player, but I think he went to Chelsea to be the main man, and I'm not sure he's a needle mover like that to be the number one.
Agreed.
To be the number one guy. I think he could be the number 3 or 4 guy. But I don't think. I think he could be the number 2 guy even. But like,
I was going to say, I think that's a bit harsh because at England it's usually him and Kane, and they would like carry in England. But you are right, Jay. He's got main character syndrome, but he's not good enough to be the main character.
Yeah, I mean, like, and so if I look at Sterling, then Alderweireld is I think when you've got younger players who've got we've got no like data on these players that they're coming in kind of raw. There's that whole they can be anything that they can possibly be. So there is almost a little bit more hope. I think when you buy more established, you know kind of what the ceiling is. So, I mean, looking at these players, there's a lot of youth. And I think, to me, less so than that, it puts more pressure on our starters, in my opinion. It actually asks the question, because I'm not someone, like I said before, I'm not somebody who really puts a label on the players. I remember last season when we were doing well, a lot of fans were saying Romero's the best centre-back, Bizuma's the best DM, Maddison's the best playmaker. You know, like the fans were talking, Udoi's the best left-back, Vicario's the signing of the season. And I remember I'm always very conscious because I was like, as soon as you start saying that, the expectation of what this team should be able to achieve has to go line in line with how good these players you are saying. So I'm like, let me not say this and put this level of pressure on the team because I don't think they're capable. Now, move on 6 months, a little bit longer. A lot of people are looking at these players and they're saying, this guy's not good enough. That guy's not good enough. This guy's not good enough. That guy's not good enough. This guy's too inconsistent. But 6 months prior, they were very happy to say, this person is this person is that. So the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, as always does.
Welcome to the Tottenham fan base. Welcome to the Tottenham fan base, Jay.
So
you just said exactly what I've been saying for how long? 5 years on YouTube.
So then you come in and you're looking at it and saying the level of what we're trying to do here and the level of these players. That's to me what you find out when you have young backups. You're saying to the senior players, it is very important that you perform well because the younger players who are coming in, even against Leicester already, we're bringing younger players in to try and get the win because you senior players did not get the job done. And I think that's a very important narrative to hold on to as the season goes on as to how good
Let me ask you this question because I know the road you're going down. And it's the right road, it's correct, and everyone's agreeing. It sounds nice, but I want to know what you rate the window.
Here we go. I hate this.
I'm curious, because obviously,
just signings for the whole window.
24. I understand what you're doing, but I hate rating windows. It's just a FIFA thing.
I just want to know, in the comments as well. I want to know. It's not. It's just your personal opinion. I know it's a nasty.
This is easy.
It's a nasty question because
let me just. By the way, I don't rate transfer windows. Mr. Box Office doesn't rate transfer windows.
There's 8 days of the window left.
Because I love my boy.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I love my boy Ashmatic, and I respect the show. I respect my boy. I respect Jay, and I respect Supreme. Even though he talks a load of waffle sometimes, but I still love you. My point is, right? Take that as a compliment, mate. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say 3 because I'm sorry we went over the top. I'm sorry we needed better forwards. We didn't get it. Yeah, We got in Timo Werner. You lost 5 points on that one all day long. I'm sorry. Yeah, when he was a problem last season. Yeah, we got Archie Gray. That looks like he needs to go back on loan to Leeds. Okay, Bergwijn came in January. Yeah, and Alderbear. I know you love him, Supreme. Right? I'm sorry. I need to see it. I need to see it. Yeah, I need to see it 2 and 3 seasons. I'm sorry. I'm fair to every single player, by the way, because I've seen Dele Alli. Look what Dele Alli did it for 2 seasons. Then he fell off. Yeah, so I'm sorry. And that Korean, I'm sorry. That's another raw talent that again needs coaching, and that's it for me. So I'm sorry. It's a 3 for me. Let everybody have their say now.
Yeah, before I go on, guys, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
He's going first. Me or you, Jay? You want to go first?
I'll go. I'm flitting between 6 and 7. The positive in me wants to say 7.
I love it.
I don't want to get crippled and called a happy clapper.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm gonna go
chest 7 out of 10. Both.
You know what? We haven't quite done enough we still got Gio and Reggie. If Gio and Reggie had gone at this point, I would say 7. Yeah. But as is, you know what? I could still. You know what? I'm gonna. Oh, fucking hell. It's really hard. I'm gonna go 6. Yeah, I'm gonna go 6 because I like Solanke. I think that's good. And I like the exits. I think when you bring in the young players, even though I have a lot of hope and expect, I can't put that level of 7 out of 10 that, like, do you know what I mean? Because they are 18-year-olds and, you know, it's a lot for them to go in, but they're highly promising and they're going to be great. Obviously, Heung to come in January, that's another, you know, signing. Again, that adds a little bit towards the 6 because he's a young player who looks all right, but we don't know how ready he is.
What about the starting 11, bro? Has the starting 11 improved in your opinion?
Yeah, Solanke, we saw already against Leicester, like the benefit.
One player in the starting 11 that's improved us.
Yeah, I
can't wait to give mine. I think I'll be the second.
Yeah, I mean, like you've got a couple of players there that are going to be part of the squad in Gray and Bergwijn as well. So we've got 3 players that have come into the team, into the squad, done some good outgoings. So yeah,
I'm with box office a bit. I'm like at a 4.5. I'm really happy with the sales, but the reason why it's a 4.5 for me is that they really condensed the window into whatever players you've got now. You're throwing into it, like even getting Alderbear now. Like, I know he might not have started, but he might have come on in that game and done a couple of stepovers and got us something. So it's like, it's all right. Yeah, you sold all those players, and I really respect it. Thank you, Daniel, and all that business. But you haven't really upgraded. Because you've got to remember, what Andrew was saying when the season was over. We were all pissed off of him. He was pissed off of the situation. He was saying that this is the words he was saying, like, we need to have major changes to the way that we are building this squad and this football club. And one place that will need massive amounts of work is the attack. It's just not good enough. And Solanke is a massive improvement. You've got rid of some of the deadwood players. Yeah, but I'll be honest with you in that, like, people like Solomon and that, you should just get rid of him. And it sounds bad. We've paid 6 million signing on fee. So if I could take 2 million for him now, and bring him like Jan, that's great. But you see, Jan, I've mentioned this before. Son took 2 years to adapt here. He learned English and he was playing in a top 5 league where he became a top goal scorer. And he struggled here for 2 years. Let's have it right. So you're going to bring a kid in, that's very super talented. But the honest truth is, you can't start him and throw it in. He can't even speak English. He's not going to learn English in 6 months. It's not happening. It's not happening. So what I'm saying is, Jan is a fantastic signing, but as far as I'm concerned, he's not going to be ready till next year. Because he's starting his tutoring now to learn English. So you have to just put him to the side. Odebear is a player that I know can come in and do a job. Archie Gray is a player I know can come in and do a job. And Bergvall is a player that ultimately he will decide what we do about Maddison, whether Maddison gets to stay the season after or whether we fuck him off. So the window is not really delivered for me yet. But if you go and get me Gomez, yeah, then it might become a 6 for me, because I think you've got rid of all those players. You've brought in Gomez, who would get into the starting 11. You've brought in Odebear, that will probably force his way into the starting 11. And you've brought in Solanke. Yeah. The rest of the other players are yet to be seen. Like you said, Jay, they're going to need time to decide who they're debunking out the first team. Then we're going to need time for them to then go into the team. So then realistically, like you said, for this season, those young players, we're at a time where we're going to be feeling our way through. So the window, for me, it hasn't delivered on the incomings. On the outcomings, it's delivered, but it hasn't really delivered on incomings. It hasn't. I'm sorry. And I know I sound like box office saying it, but that's the reality.
Well, you're only saying your truth, Bob.
But is it? We've brought 4 players in who are coming into the first team squad. So I think 6. If you've brought 4 players in, and the rating is 6, that does showcase a little. Because how often are you going to bring 4 players into a first team squad, and the overall signing is just 6?
Yeah, but Jay,
I think you've already factored
Man
in.
City did, yeah. Well, Jay, Man City did it. They brought Kovacic. They brought last season. They brought Cover. They brought Doku. They brought. Let's think of the other ones. They brought Cover, Doku, Guardiol, and one more.
Like an 8,
they did actually buy 4 players.
That's like an 8, bro. That's like an 8.5.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that they bought 4 established players that went straight into the team. Bang.
That's what I'm trying to say. So if you buy 4 players, you're looking at an 8 if you do.
I'll be honest with you, Jay.
It's relative.
The end of Jay.
I would still look at that relatively, like, because if you gave Tottenham West Ham signing, the rating I would give it would not be the same as I would give it as a West Ham fan making those signings.
You're saying that you wouldn't take Debo?
I'm taking him. I'm taking Debo.
I'd take him. Yeah, I'd take him.
Right, so because that will improve our defense. Yeah,
it would improve our defensive unit.
He challenges because everyone was twerking for him. Everyone was twerking for him in January, by the way. Yeah, so I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing anyone saying anything, by the way, because I saw people saying when the YouTube videos are coming from YouTubers saying, "Yeah, we're getting to Debo him. He's going to improve our defense." Oh, yeah, but we got Romero and Van der Ven. Well, who challenges? That's the point. Again, I'm going to remind people, and Starpreen's going to learn this from Mr. Box Office again. I don't do backups, because if you want backups, go and get Harry Winks back. Go and get Virgil van Dijk back. Yeah, go and get Sanchez back. Yeah, because they were backups and they weren't good enough for us. So I'm not having it anymore. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm straight down the middle.
You're spitting. You know, when it comes to the window, yeah, the only way it gets to a 6 with Jay is, for me, is if they go and get a left-sided defender that can play left-sided of the defence, i.e. full-back and defence, and they go and get like a Joel Gomez or somewhere. And then Jay is right with those outgoings, and then you're bringing 2 players that can challenge and be put into the first team. It's a 6 or 7 window. But we have got 8 days of the window left to see if Daniel Levy does any more business in Levy time, or he says, that's what you've got. I'll try and get Gomez, and that's your lot. So if he goes and gets a left-sided defender, and do you know what I mean? Like, he goes and gets a Joel Gomez, then I'm sorry, it is a 6 window. But right is where I sit today, knowing that like Jan can't come in and make an incident because he doesn't speak English. He's never played in any top 5 European league. So I have to just put him aside. He's something to think about in a year's time. I've got no expectations of Jan for a year. I've got expectations of Odebear after 2-3 months, because I know he's good enough. I know I've seen enough. And it's like what Ash is saying. He's only one thing he has to improve is his end product. And that's an easy thing to improve if he's got his touch, if he's got his control and everything else about his game set right. But Jan ain't going to have that, because he's the exposure that he's had to our kind of style of football is playing against us in pre-season. So that's the reason why you've got to. That's the reason why you've got to look at the window for what it really is. It's like Jay said. Maybe in 2 years we'll look back at this window and say this window's a 10.
The only
But
reason
we don't know that. We don't know that. If we're looking at everything for how it looks, it's about a 4 as we speak today.
It only works if the manager's here in 2 years' time. And at the moment, there are question marks because of the history of Tottenham, right? Not backing up, sticking with the holding the nerve when the fans turn, right? That this manager is going to be here in 2 years' time. Yeah,
no, that's a good point.
And that's the problem I have at the moment. That's the problem I have at the moment. Unfortunately,
and you know what? You can say that because every manager, apart from Ange now, Ange is the first manager to get from one end of the season to the end.
Exactly.
Barring Pochettino, they all get sacked within an 18-month cycle. So you can say that with chess because that has been our history.
And the only reason why Pochettino stayed at Tottenham because he got Champions League. That was the only reason. And this was a Pochettino side that was playing at Wembley for 2 years. That's why I have respect for him because that was not a good time at Tottenham, by the way.
Real quick. Jay's got a run.
I do respect, sorry to interrupt you, that we sold Skip. That was a very good decision. That was bottom. He needed to go. He needed to go. Yeah, that was a very good decision. I will give him respect for that. And I said that on my channel, Mr. Box Office Team, in my latest video, by the way. So yeah, I will give him that on that sell. Sorry, Ash. Back to you.
That's cool. That's cool. Jay's got a breeze. Jay's got a breeze out. But I was going to ask about Everton real quick before I ended the show. This question about Mikey Moore, will he get minutes in you guys' opinion? And then let's talk about Everton straight after that, man, and then we're done.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. Like as in, like he's soon, but not quite yet. Like as in, like the players in the squad still do need time, just to mesh together, work together. Solanke, that's his first game with the players. Look at the final squad, things like that. Odegaard needs to be, got into the team. You still got an argument for Kulu to play off the right wing because obviously Kulu needs minutes too. Do you know what I mean? If he's just going to be a central option, he's going to be seeing the bench a lot and stuff. So there's still a lot of players who even Werner may not rate him, and you can say Mikey Moore should take minutes over him, but we did renew the loan. So he's going to need to have some minutes, whether people like it or not. So close, but not yet.
Cool. Anyone else want to talk on that before we talk about Everton? Oh, yeah. And there's a question there for you, Mr. Box Office.
You go first, Mr. Box Office.
As we were, I don't know what Donna Cullen's asked me to do. I don't know what she's talking about.
Donna Collins asked you, Mr. Box Office, who would you buy for a number 6?
Number 6. That's a good question, to be fair. Who would I want? Oh gosh, I'll stick to what I say. I do like the idea of Locatelli. I do like the idea because I need some experience. I've got to be honest.
I hear it.
But in saying that, the only reason why I'm saying this guy is because I think he had a really good season. I'm just saying at the moment I'm going to go for the best one, Edison from Atalanta.
Yes.
I'm just going to go for the best one. I don't think we're going to get him, but I think we're going to have to get somebody like that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So.
Yeah,
what was your question? What was your question before the Everton game? What was the question?
It's about Mike.
Next question is: does Mikey Moore get minutes?
Mikey Moore.
Well, I think he should be. I think for me at the moment, if you're going to use him now because I'm sorry, Brendan Johnson is not good enough. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, Timo Werner was the worst decision this club has made. I'm sorry, and especially now we've got Alderweireld. I think we should have got a better wingering. I'm sorry, Ashmatic, you don't get enough credit for the amount of players you have shown us on this show, right? That walk ahead of Brennan Johnson all day, every single day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with a lot of the people. I think that Mikey Moore, yeah, he has all the attributes of a player that can go out. You know, like Yang Mal and Mikey Moore are similar build, they're the same height. So why can't he go out and, you know, you got to remember, Yang Mal absolutely, yeah, did a job on the best defender that we had in the Euros, and that was Mark Gahey.
I remember that.
He was the only person that Mark Gahey got changed with Mark Gahey. So I believe if he can do that, and we've got a player that all these other clubs like Real Madrid and all that want to buy him, then we should be giving him minutes. Because this is what I won't accept. I won't accept that second half performance against Leicester and then everyone talking about how, you know, that's to say it's shit it was, but then say, well, Mikey Moore's not good enough to get in there. But then you're going to play players that those other teams, yeah, like we talked about Real Madrid and that wouldn't want, but that we have a youth player that they do want. So Mikey Moore in the next game, if I start seeing that again, there should be no excuse to give Mikey Moore minutes. If we're smashing a team or to tie a game with 2-3-1 up, then yeah, he might have to wait a bit longer. But if we're 4-5-0 up or the game's gone, you know, Ange's the one thing that Ange does piss me off that he does. When the game's gone, like up at Newcastle, yeah, take Van der Ven off, put Dragusin on, take fucking Son off, and fucking take Madsen off, put kids on. You know why? Because if the game's already gone and you've lost it, don't get you players that you're going to need for the next game getting injured, which he does do, and don't waste the fans will accept losing 4-0, yeah, but they'll be pissed. But they'll accept it more if you're losing 4-0, you bring a kid on like Valise and he scores a goal. Because then the fans have a new talking point. Yeah, we fucking lost, but how good was Valise? They'll hang on to the positive. That's what keeps fans going. And Ange needs to tap into that. He doesn't tap into that enough.
Yeah, I hear you. But I think what the argument is that they don't want to bring in young players into toxic environments. And like, supposing the crowd are like, you're fucking shit, blah, blah, blah. Remember Newcastle?
You can say that. You can say that. We were awful at the Amex. Absolutely shocking, Mr.
Yeah. You're right.
But I remember the talking points in my spaces that everyone held on to was Valise. And then the next game, people got pissed off because he got less minutes in another average game. But people took away that we were shocking, but they were also this. But at least Valise played well. Valise looked sharp when he come on. Valise could score. Looks like he got a goal in him. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you're not going to do that, that's all you have got is a toxic environment. That's all you have got is a shit performance. Because look at this. When we played Brighton at the Amex and got raped 4-2, yeah? When he came on and the young players come on, we actually came back into the game. But when we played Newcastle and got absolutely spanked, we got a kick in, yeah? Our best players in Van der Ven and Romero got made to look average, yeah? And all we wanted to do was talk about that's the second season. But I guarantee you this, if you would have played Mikey Moore or Yago Santiago or Soupsop Bell and gave them minutes, people would have talked about, if they would have come on and done well, how well they looked. But when you're losing that heavily, like you've got nothing to lose, Ash. Because that's what I'm saying. You're not going to bring them on when you winning 2-0. You bring them on and you lose the game 2-2 because that's a toxic environment. Because it'll be like, you were winning the game, you brought these kids on and they're shit. But if the game is 3-4-0, mate, you've got nothing to lose.
Someone's put in the comments like, raw, when it comes to Europa or the League Cup, we want to take those competitions really seriously. But then you've got other factions of the fan base. They want to see the young guns. You know what I'm saying? They want to see the young boys do their thing because that's where Kane made his name. He made his voice being heard. So it's like it's a catch-22 because if you put the young players in a Europa Cup final, not a final, but Europa Cup game, and then all of a sudden we lose it and we're out of another cup competition, Ange is going to get in the neck. What does he do?
No, it's context though, isn't it? It's context about Kane. Yeah. Kane's opportunity came because we didn't have a Solanke. We had a Soldado who was a 5'10" striker that played in the two. We bought him and didn't want to buy his partner. We didn't want to buy a player like his partner that could hold up the ball, kind of where we've been now, yeah. So then what happened was Kane would play with Soldado, and then they started to realise, actually, we don't need Soldado at all because Kane scores the goals. He can play the ball and hold up the play. So actually, Soldado, you just fuck off, mate. And that's where the reason why Kane got chances is because Soldado was so bad. Soldado played onion ball. He'd do everything right but score goals. He'd bring tears to your eyes. With Kane, he had the attributes of a tall, skinny striker that had oozed ability. And what happened was, the idea was, they brought Kane in as a decoy to play with Soldado. They experimented it. And actually, they realised, actually, we don't need Soldado because he doesn't score the goals. He's not occupying defenders. Kane's doing all of this on his own. Soldado can go. And that's how Kane was born. Kane was born at the back of spending £30 million on one of La Liga's best strikers, and he couldn't cut it here. But again, when we talk about where we are today, like what Mr. Box Office will say, we should have known that. And we shouldn't have actually realistically, if everyone knows this, Kane was going to Leicester for £750,000. Leicester bid 250, we knocked it back. Leicester bid 500, we knocked it back. They come with 750, and what's his name? Why the reason why he always blows his own trumpet? What's he called? The guy that was caretaker manager. What's his name?
What, Sherwood?
What was his name?
I know.
Sherwood always blows. Yeah, Tim Sherwood always blows his own trumpet because he fought Daniel Levy, one, to be able to start him in games. Daniel Levy came down to him and started saying to him, what the fuck are you doing starting him?
Yeah, I remember.
Like we're selling him. And Sherwood said, Sherwood said it will be the biggest mistake you'll ever make selling that kid. That kid has got more ability than the guy you've bought for 30 million. And if it wasn't for Sherwood, he was going to the Midlands, and fuck knows where we'd be today. So you've got to give these kids a shot. Because even if you've got Solankis and whatnot, you give these kids a shot, and you do what Arsenal do. It's like we're selling Skip for 25 million. He's the most expensive academy graduate we've sold now since Kane for 25 million. How long ago was it that Kane come through? 9 years. So what we need to get in the mindset of is that we've got nothing to lose in our position. We're not City. We're not Arsenal. We're not going to be in the title race. We'll probably struggle to get in top four, but we have a chance in the Europa League. We have a chance in the cup competitions. So our only focus should be is focusing on cup competitions, finishing the league as high as possible. And this is what really drives me over the wall with fans. We should be playing our kids so that we can sell a Balogun for 40 million, and then we've got the 40 million to put down to go and buy a Declan Rice. We don't need to buy £100 million players, but the reason why Arsenal now are comfortable doing it is because their academy produces players of Nketiah, of Smith Rowe. There's over £150 million worth of players almost, with Reece Nelson. We're selling Oliver Skip for 25 million. We're selling Troy Parrott for 7 million. And then when you come away from them, you're selling Iago Santiago for 250, 500. They were going to sell that Danny Craig when he come back off loan, getting offered 100k for players. We're getting offered poker money for players that we've kept since 16 to the time of 21. You need to play the kids. But what you can't do is then say, well, actually, we don't give a fuck about the Europa League and let them take precedent. It's like you said, Ash, it's a balance. I would rather give kids like that a shot when you've gone to Newcastle, you're 60 minutes in and the game's gone. Then play them. That's what Man United did with Anthony. They were getting stuffed up the arse. Yeah, games were going. So they started sticking on Pellistri and Garnacho. And what they realised is Pellistri's never going to be good enough to play it. Garnacho is. So they play Garnacho and they take the 20 million for Pellistri. But what I was explaining to people, our stock profile of our young players is worth fuck all because they don't get played. Whereas Arsenal don't want Nketiah, but they can sell him for 40 million. They don't want Balogun, but that's 80 million pounds. That's your money for Rice. And then our fans will say, won't we? Levy only puts the money in from the squad. The other money that he's making from events and all of that goes on the hotel. So if we're not making the money from squad players and youth players, you're always going to be shit. You're always going to be chasing the players, the teams above us. The kids have to play. But you can't then go from what you said, Ash, one extreme to the other. You can't. It has to be with a balance.
Can I just say something though? Yeah. I think the Supreme needs to get off Twitter because I think he's been wanting to. I think he's been bursting to say everything he's been saying. And I've got to say this right now, bro. Honestly, he's been bursting, bro. You know what I mean? And I think he needs to be on YouTube more, bro. I need to say something in the chat, bro. This Callum guy. Honestly, bro, stop digging the hole for yourself. Just because you agree with Supreme, the only reason why you agree with Supreme is because he says what you're saying, bro. You've got no football opinion coming back to me, bro. Yeah? So please don't be embarrassing. And El Tel Coforel, yeah? Bro, yeah? Jose, yeah? Honestly, bro, you've got no excuse, yeah? All you've told me is that I'm negative, yeah? So, bro, if you've got the bottle, debate me, but you won't debate me because you don't say nothing and that's it. Yeah, so don't talk rubbish saying, Supreme's talking sense. I'm sorry. I had to say that. I had to say
Do you know
that,
what
man,
it is?
because you know
Football's a
why.
game of opinions. There's football's a
Yeah.
game of opinions.
I know, but bro, these guys talk a lot. Trust
No,
me.
but what I was about
Yeah.
to say, box office, yeah, football's a game of opinions, and we can both say things in the conversation that we both agree with from each other, but we come probably from different positions because we've got different minds.
Yeah.
But as long as we can see the contextual point of where we're trying to pull towards, that's the main
That's
thing.
why you give me context. You give me football content. I get you. Whether we disagree or agree, I give you. You give me football reasons. These players, these people I'm talking about, have not given me football reasons. All they give me is negativity and saying I'm a bad person. So again, they get personal because they've lost the argument. Yeah, and just to finish off the night, because Donna Collins is just
I
keeping
want to
on
debate Mr.
begging
Box
for
Office
my
every night.
attention. Begging for my attention, yeah? Begging for my attention. Donna, yeah? You're not going to get the answer because you need to keep on guessing, yeah? Right? And that's it, yeah? And that's all I need to say. Just to finish off what you want to say, because I know you want to answer the question about Everton, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, I don't
I'm
want
just
to
going
end
to
it.
just give it, I'm just going to give it straight up and straight to the point, yeah? 2-1 Tottenham, yeah? Right? I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2-2 draw, though, yeah? Because that defence is bang average. And I'll be interested to see who's at midfield. Yeah.
Mm.
Because I know a lot of people now are saying they don't want Basuma in the team at the moment. Yeah. They weren't
Mm.
saying that 3 weeks ago, weren't they? Weren't saying that a month ago, weren't they? They were saying
He
Bentancur,
was
get
good
out the
in
team.
but box office. He was good in pre-season, but then you have to look at the teams you're playing. So it all is a mixing pot that you have to have a balanced view. He's played very well, but we're playing against championship teams and whatever. So and then he's going to go out and do smart whips and French rappers and stuff. So you got to have balance, and I think that Ange is right on him. He's got to earn the trust of the fans, his teammates, and the manager back. Like that was a big blonde. He's basically doing drugs on video and he's recording himself. So I am with you on that, box office. Like, we're a professional outfit that's trying to win things. We're trying to improve our profile. We're not going to improve with our players basically getting off their head on camera. So
but my point is,
that's
though,
the reason.
But my point is, Supreme, though. The point is, Supreme, is that we were all saying after this whole song incident with Bentancur, we're saying, get out. We're gonna sell him. Yeah. Then 4 weeks later, Basuma does what he's done. Oh no, Bentancur back in the team now. You know what I mean? So again, it changes from week to over a 3-week, 4-week period. Yeah. Even with pre-season, things change all the time because Bentancur was at the team. He was out the squad. He was gonna be sold. And I heard loads of people after the Son incident, they were gonna sell him. That's what I heard. Now, Basuma now, who was popular 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, now is in the naughty step, and now they want to sell him. Now they're saying we don't put him in the team now. So again, it's again.
I don't think you sell him, but I think you put another player in there like a João Gomez. Like you said before, you put a João Gomez in there, you make a melting pot for him because you basically make a decision that in the 12 months from there, you either sell him or you keep him, bro. So it's that simple. So I don't think it's as simple as you just fuck Basuma off. But I'll be honest with you, Mr. Box Office, you can't be doing Class C drugs as a footballer on camera. Jack Grealish got the same. He didn't get banned, but he got his wages taken for a week. And as you know, like Danny Rose has told us, it's not helpful that happening. Footballers still want to earn their till. Do you know what I mean? They still want to look on their bank balance on the weekend and see their 160 grand in the bank. It hurts them. So I am with you on the fact that Bentancur got a soft touch compared to Son, but we don't know because I always heard it that he got because Levy loves any opportunity to fine people. I heard that Bentancur got fined 50% of his wages for what he said, and I think he just took it. That's why we didn't hear anything because he understood that he had made a mistake and that he needed to be punished. But at the same time, we also do have to deep it. Yeah, is that you can punish players and whatever, but you sometimes punish yourselves. And what Bentancur did, racism is worse, I believe, than doing drugs. But I don't believe it was flat out, you know, like I'm not even going to use any derogatory term dialogue for Korean people, but it's the same thing that, like, I don't believe it was racist. It was ignorance, because probably Son is the first Korean person he spent time around in long periods. But does it make it right? No. So did he deserve to leave you to take more of his money, more money, and put it in his pot? Yes, he did. But I believe that the Everton game, I agree with you. I think if you start well in that game, you win it. But I think if you have a shaky start and it goes on to be 60 minutes, you're 1-0 up, and then I think that you could easily get a draw. I think you could easily lose the game, because that's how we are against Everton. It will all determine our first 30 minutes. If we start positively and put them on the back foot, we'll win the game. But last time we started really well. And like what you said about the Leicester game, Ash, we took our foot off the gas. And from that moment against Everton, when we played them at home, we never got it back. And that's what Everton can do to you. They did it to Arsenal, and they did it to us last season. If you don't kill them in 60 minutes, they will get back in the game. And that's
100%.
where I do kind of agree with you, Mr. Box Office. It's a difficult game, because you have to set the tone early on. And if you don't, you're allowing them to basically believe the longer the game goes on that there's something in it for them.
I'm gonna end it here, like, because it's a techie one. You guys have brought up like amazing points, and so is the chat as well, by the way. Big up the chat each and every time. And guys, please make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe as well. So make sure you pay your rent before you leave. Those at home, jump on your mobile device, do your thing, because it helps the channel to grow, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I just think it's a techie one, because Basuma, if he does come back in the starting 11 in front of the home fans, there's going to be sections of the fan base that aren't going to be happy. The only way he does any justice is if he plays well. He has to play well if he starts, because everyone's itching, not everyone, but a lot of the fan base is itching for Archie Gray. Is Archie Gray ready to play against Everton in that defensive midfielder role? Some might say yes, some might say no. This is the dilemma that we're in right now. I think it's a mad, interesting dilemma right now, if I'm being totally honest. Set pieces, Everton, they're gonna do what they do. Do you know what I'm saying? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's gonna be a pest. Do you know what I'm saying? In the air, that's where he lives, that's what he breathes, that's what he comes for. So it's going to be interesting, especially if we do not get a result, a positive one, or if we don't play a certain way, or if we concede a set piece or a transition or a cross into the box that leads to a goal. Then there's going to be a lot more questions and a lot more pressure for Ange. And then it's like, the fans, will they turn? Will Mr. Box Office TV prophecy come true? Will he be a Mystic Meg? Who knows? So there's so many things riding on this. And then after that, we go to Tyneside. Yeah, I'm saying, with the Magpies, Ant and Deck, Geordie Shaw. Are you sure? Aye, man. Do you know what I'm saying? And then there's an international break, and we have to hold that. We have to hold that. We have to sleep on that. And then we go into a North London derby. You can't write this any different. We do not have the same start we had as the first 10 games that we had when we drew against Brentford on the opening start of the season, and then we had a good turn of form. That ain't happening this season.
Yeah, well, we had 3 promoted sides in our run, didn't we? So that helped us.
Exactly. That ain't happening in this time. So football's mad. Things can change quickly. But on the other side, the flip side is, you never know. We could go turn up against Everton and do the unthinkable, go to Newcastle and get a performance or get a result. I don't know. But it's going to be very interesting. Everton, I thought we'll get the job done against Leicester. I'll be real. We have to beat Everton. We have to beat Everton. Like, there's no two ways about it. And Brennan Johnson has to get dropped for me. If Brennan Johnson does not get dropped, yeah, and we perform similar in terms of, like, we don't pick up that performance off the back of Leicester, and we don't get the right result, then people are going to start calling him stubborn. Why is he playing him for? Blah, blah, blah. Fans will get onto Johnson as well for not performing. So he's going to get a lot of abuse. He's going to have to turn his comments off as well.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. He'll have to turn his notification off again. Like, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Bruv. Basuma had to do his. Like, bro, it's mad out here, bruv. Them man there, listen, at this level, it's not easy. But yeah, I'm going to say Everton, we get the job done. 2-1 to Spurs.
I see it being 2-1. If we win, that's being 2-1, or we get a 2-2 draw.
Yeah. Well, a 2-2 for me. 2-2 draws are mad thing. I'll be real. I'll be that.
Yeah. If he gets a 2-2 draw, that will start to get hecklers of our fan base. That will start to things will start. Like you mentioned before, the end of last season was so bad that kind of is still in people's minds. So you need a couple of good performances to wash that away, and that draw hasn't done anything towards that. So you're right, Ash.
Why Ange was that? Shake your body, let that ass breathe, hands on your knees, that type of, you know what I'm saying? That's what we saw.
Yeah.
Ange bent over.
He started to sort of say to himself that, like, yo, this is starting to get a bit techie now. Like, I'm starting to see the downfalls of the players, but the feeling, because the fans, obviously away fans, could you hear him singing? I could hear our away fans loud. I could hear him singing, oh, Van der Ven. I could hear it. It's like I was there. So if you can imagine that, imagine what they were like when Leicester scored. I know that the King Power, I've been to the King Power in that. That's a nice little stadium, that. It's a weird little techie stadium. It's got like one real nice end, and then the other end is just left open there. But that home end, you see with that big bubble, we have that all the way around. So to give you a comparison, when they scored, that's when we heard that echoing glass that they have at the top of the King Power really start, because you couldn't hear their fans. You could hear our fans singing Mickey van der Ven and singing the Cooley song and whatever, but you couldn't hear the fans. But once they scored, you could then hear the Leicester fans and our fans turn a bit on Ange. Do you know what I mean? And on the players. And like you said, if we don't win that game against Everton, then the game against Newcastle becomes a game where if you don't play them off the park and dominate the game, then you're already up against it. Our fans.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it, man. We're done. We're done out here. It's been a pleasure. Big up to everyone in the chat once again. Big up Mr. Box Office TV. When are you on next? What we got coming up from you, bro? Plug yourself, man.
Like I say, if I need to react, I'll react. At the moment, I'm on the beach, and like I said before, I can't go to any games at the moment. I just haven't got the money, and I don't think I'm interested at the moment. I'm sorry. I'd rather go Carnival. I'm sorry. I'd rather do that at the moment. I came back from Jamaica. I said some truth there. Nothing's changed, and I'm sorry. I've done this too many years now, so. You know what I mean? So yeah, Mr. Box Office TV. I'll be reacting to the Everton game. Maybe partying too much, to be honest with you. That'd be my game, and that's it. But big up to everybody. Big up to Supreme. Big up to you, Ashmatic. Big up to Marlon. Big up to Jay, and big up to Josh as well. And I'm out. Cool. Big up to you.
Yeah, big everyone up on this panel. This is my YouTube debut, and I've loved it. I've always been saying to people I wanted to do my own, but this has given me the perfect taste to have a go at it, and I've loved it. I love meeting you all, and I've loved the chat that's come in. A lot of people give me love in the chat. Big up yourselves. I love you, Mr. Box Office, because there's no point of coming on YouTube for everyone to say the same thing. This is a game of opinions. Everybody's opinion needs to be heard, because then we can chop it up, and then we can get somewhere where we all understand it. I've loved it. And I think you need to get off Twitter, bruv. You need to get off Twitter.
You need to get off Twitter, bruv, and just come on YouTube, bruv. I think you've been chopping at the bit to say something, bro. And I think YouTube's your space, bruv, man. I think Ashmatic needs to link you up a little bit more, bro. That's what I say, bro. Yeah.
Well, he's here now.
Yeah. And I'll say to everybody that's watching on the stream, that's not. Please share Ash, man. Like what a man, and like share and. Get on there, because some of you I know you'll be in the chat. You could be up here speaking. So please share. This man will bring you through, you know. So Ash loved it, man. And I will be when I come up here, I'm gonna go straight on my Twitter and share your page and share what you're doing here. Love it.
Love people.
All I will say is this before we go, yeah. People in the chat, please keep it football, bro. Yeah, you can call me all the names under the sun, yeah, but don't have a go at my boy Ash or any of these guests, yeah, because at the end of the day, I'll just take it as fuel, and you're just losing the argument if you can get personal, Yeah, so just keep it football. Yeah, but big up to everyone in the chat though, boy, and that's it.
Yeah, great.
So,
Yeah, great
finish it
chat,
off.
man.
Finish the show, Ash, like you always do.
Big up you, man. Big up the Spurs community. Come on, you Spurs, and Ange we trust. Love for the love, man.